Yo, everybody.
Yo,
I have
what up?
finally kind of gotten my
Oh
stuff
no, Zach,
together.
your
Sort of,
aspect
not really.
ratio is all squeezed. You're all extra skinny and tall.
Yeah, it got weird in the middle of doing stuff with it. And I'm
There you
not
go. That's
sure
a little
why it's
better.
set up like this. But,
Hold on, go back to the other one. The other one was better, I think. More proportionate.
um, got stuff open other places. Where the hell is it?
What up, Joseph?
Okay, so, I mean, I can change it to one of these other things. They're all,
That one's better. No, no, no.
act-
The other one you just had.
you're talking this one?
Yes, that's more proportionate. The other one definitely
Yeah,
stretches you vertically.
Yeah, StreamYard is not a good program, in case anybody was wondering. It is very good if you are logging in from a phone and don't want any control over what you're doing at
Uh,
all, then it's
yeah,
then it's
yeah.
pretty good. But as soon as you start adding stuff into it where you want to add like external mics, external cameras, fucking doing any kind of weird shit, all of a sudden StreamYard becomes like it does not work with you at all. Their compression for cameras coming from like greater bit rates and stuff is pretty much horrible. Um,
Good
all
to
of it
know.
is pretty much horrible. So it's fine. We'll deal with it for right now, and we'll get OBS set up at some point in time, like real
Woohoo!
streamers do. Um,
What,
so
Zach? We're not real streamers yet. Come on, we got a ticker line at the bottom. We got a full multimedia presentation.
yeah,
We're real. We're real. Damn it.
yeah, we're real. I promise. This is all real. Um, no, it's not. There's actually nothing real about reality except for the reel that you happen to be watching right now. But anyways, hi, lots of people: Samantha, Jasmine, others, Sam, Charlotte, Kevin, Jacob, Jen's around here somewhere, Joe's around here somewhere. Everybody in chat,
And all
other
the other
people that
beautiful
were here
people that
earlier.
aren't in there.
Hi, thanks for dealing with ridiculousness. I didn't even realize what time it was. I brought this stream up just being like, oh, I'll screw with it and look at it and get it working, and then I'll take it back down. And yeah, and then it was 8 o'clock. So that turned into the intro of Zach
That was great.
troubleshooting his camera to absolutely no avail with his shirt off. So that's good. Great.
Yeah,
At
don't worry, I
least
got that.
on the plus side, it
Go
wasn't on
ahead.
Twitch because I would get banned for having my shirt off on Twitch. So, you
Yeah,
know.
there it is right there. It's the Enjoy Zach troubleshooting in real time with his shirt off intro.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Layla. It is very good to see you tonight, and
Hi, Lila.
hopefully we're gonna see you at the end of the week or next week or something, because Aaron's gonna be here and some other
I'll be
people
there.
looking like they're gonna be
Yep.
here too, and we're excited. 11, 11, 12, 12 somewhere right now too. Um, now that it has changed. Blasting everyone with so much love. Same.
Yeah.
Also,
Thanks, Layla.
doing the love things.
I
Like I
receive and I
said
give back.
during the intro, that was an individual named Jason Bauer who goes by the name of Petty Fox. He's releasing an EP soon. You see him on the screen here, and his wonderful cat. He's a great keyboardist, and he does live looping. A lot of it's improvisational. Uh, Happy to be friends with him, and he's yeah, like I said, he's making some music that we're going to be able to put on here. And we've only had like 3 copyright issues at all, and they were all songs that were able to just be muted in the last week. So we are super duper close to never having any copyright claims on this channel, and
Cool.
that's a huge plus right there.
Yep.
Then we won't get fucking banned for no reason. So
Yep.
yeah, um, yeah.
So I have a question. Since can you hear my mic volume compared to yours? Because I can't adjust it, and I feel like it comes through a little loud. I mean, yours sounds a little softer. Are we imbalanced?
I do not really know because I would need to hear it on something else. I can just
Yeah.
open it up somewhere else. We could ask also chat. What everybody in
Yeah.
chat, or especially Kevin, because you know levels of audio real good. You know,
Yeah.
uh, how should my audio be adjusted to bring it in line with Aaron's? His is
Because
unadjustable. Mine is very
mine,
adjustable.
yeah, I can't do anything about mine. So however loud it's coming in, it's coming in.
So, Kevin, if you could adjust your volume to Aaron's volume and then tell me what I need to do with mine.
Yeah, it's just a slight difference, not bad. Also, you're right. Yeah, so maybe pump yours up a little bit.
Kick mine up just a little
Yeah,
bit. There we go.
yeah, yeah. That's better. I think that's probably more equal.
Okie dokie. We'll test this out, and if anybody thinks that the audio is wrong, feel free to tell us. Yeah, go figure. See, as I asked Kevin, he's like, I'm using actual reference monitors.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, so how's it sound now? He turned his volume up, Kevin.
Yeah, I bumped mine about like 3 dB or something. Maybe it's better.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think we're good. Perfect.
Got it all set up. Kevin is the local audio magician, so
So
that's
so
good.
Kevin also starts with a K, and ketamine also starts with a K.
It's true.
That's a good
And both
connection.
of them are special.
It's true. Although I didn't feel like walking around all crazy when I was at Kevin's house. So I was just ketamine.
Yeah, so we could where did I put that video? We can show everybody
All
a
right,
very funny video.
all right. So let me preface it. Maybe let's intro it. Okay, so did ketamine for the first time last night, and after the fire in the show, and that was really interesting. I'd never done that before. I had a framework, kind of what to expect, looking for the K-hole, or my understanding, you can bump into a certain level, clearing stuff along the way to find like in some place into your own heart or your own construct in a way that is unique. So I was kind of looking or aware of that. Now the difference is like, so whereas like in THC, you know what? I don't know why. I think it's fine for this episode, but I feel like, hold on. Oh yeah, your mic's picking up a lot of static background noise. Is it a fan? Do you have a fan going?
Hey Jen, can you turn that fan off right there? Yeah, there's a fan that's not pointed the right way. It's my bad. I fixed it.
Okay, cool. I would say that's a bummer if that's a mic issue, but yeah, all right.
Oh, it's definitely not a
So
mic issue.
okay, so so anyway, so like with smoking too much weed or certain things, it feels like you get sucked in behind your eyes, like into yourself, right? And you're looking like through your eyes far away. But this was totally different. It's almost like my awareness extended out to like my auric field or some shit. So it's not like I was out of my body looking at my body, but it was pulled back so that my experience was very echoey and everything was very time delayed. So like when I made one point to get up off the floor after I'd been spiraling into the K-hole for a while and melting and doing all that shit and just like totally letting go of, or at least being able to, yeah, the fan's still really loud in the background.
When I don't say anything, my
EQ's
XLR
off for
interface is
it.
saying that there is literally no sound coming through the mic.
Yeah, when you talk, it I think quiets a hair. That's all right. We'll deal with it later. It's not super distracting. It's just abnormal from what I'm used to on your side. So, that's better. That stopped. Are you muted? Oh, he's muted. I was like, hey, it's better.
Yeah, I have another fan in here that I'm turning off. Is it all right now?
He said he hears it now. Yeah, way better, way better.
Okay, they're all off now.
But are you gonna start sweating though?
No.
Not in that RV. Okay, so, okay, so
I'm surprised that's even hearable because I have a low pass filter on the mic too. So
yeah, which I find, I don't know. Maybe once we get out of StreamYard, it'll be a lot easier to do all that shit.
Yeah, it should be golden now. It's like silent in here.
Yeah, and it sounds a lot quieter. Oh, it's
Yeah,
fine. I just picked up the echo from your headphones.
I can hear my processor fan running. Like, yeah, anyways.
Barely.
Yeah,
that's
ASMR
cool.
voice now. Yeah, I was actually playing around last night when I got back with like food and stuff, playing around with like recording my keys and crumpling a bag and stuff and playing it over my monitor speakers.
Cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that
We won't need to
sounds
turn
way
it
better
back
now.
on. I literally can. So you can see this behind me is a window that could be opened, and then on both sides of me, I have windows that can be opened too. So like
Or
I
are you
have.
sitting on that? Are you sitting on that couch now?
No, I'm in. No, no. Yeah,
Because your couch.
I'm at the end of an
Go ahead.
RV facing east.
Are you in the same spot you normally were broadcasting from?
I have not moved it.
Oh, okay, you just took the tapestry down.
I took the tapestry down because I have all kinds of bitrate issues with my camera. It looks good here in StreamYard, but if you look at it on the stream, it's trash. And the reason for
Oh,
that is because the lowest possible quality that I can set my camera to is
yeah.
too high of bitrate for my upload. And then
Oh,
StreamYard gets to handle the compression, and StreamYard's compression is absolutely terrible. So
okay, that makes sense.
they do it. Oh, it's so I've never seen uh, that bad of compression. So, I mean, I could just bring it back because it doesn't really matter. Like if you look at this on YouTube right now, like bring it up and look at my mic or my camera, you'll see that the quality is just terrible, honestly.
Oh, let me see. Maybe on the show.
Yeah, we can,
720p. Oh yeah, it is. It's even less than 360. That's weird.
but then look at StreamYard and look how clear it is.
No, StreamYard is pretty pixelated too.
Okay, well on my computer,
On
here,
your
like
on your
I'll
small
take
one.
a let me take a picture with my phone
Yeah.
and send it to you so you can see what it looks like on mine if my fucking screen will stand. Dude, this phone is so busted, dude. All right, you're not getting it. My phone's just straight like wigging out. Like check out what my phone does if you can even see this on here. We'll see whether it turns on or not. Now it's gonna act like it turns on, but it'll wig out all crazy suddenly. Oh, can I get a picture? Nope,
I
I
say
turned
so
it
far
over
so
and then
good.
it turned off. It turned itself off. So
Yay!
yeah,
Awesome.
that's another thing on the agenda is I have two other phones around here, but they're not as good as that phone, and you know, as blah blah stuff. There's too much stuff to do, guys. I didn't get anywhere near what I was supposed to get done today, because I spent basically all day talking about very interesting things instead.
Mm.
So yeah, Layla, my phone again. It's here and
Womp
there, and
womp.
sometimes decides to work.
Womp
Um,
womp womp.
the video. Now we deviated. So
Okay, so hold on. I was laying context for it, and then that'll
yes,
explain the walk. All right,
back
so
to the video, everyone. Ketamine.
okay, so the ketamine. It felt like I was like out, like my consciousness or my awareness enveloped my whole body, including like my auric field. So it was like that. So I wasn't like outside my body, looking at my body, but it was a different way of perceiving things. And then when I knew I had to get up to go vomit, for example, my consciousness and my brain and my mind had already made the decision to do it. So I'd already enacted the physical processes, and so my body was moving towards it, but my consciousness or my brain processing was like 5 or 6 seconds ahead of what my body was doing, or behind, or whatever. So it was like watching my body play out in real time what I already saw happen in reality. Like I saw almost like a deja vu, I guess, but lasting nonstop. And I think also I think maybe my voice is coming through your headphones into the mic. Just a little.
I don't hear that at
Um,
all.
yeah, there's a tiny echo in the background. Or maybe, yeah, there's only us two in there, so it's got to be. Anyhow, so okay, so getting to this thing, I made it fine, made it in time to lean over and was puking for a while. I'm like, yep, this is just part of it, and I'm clearing, and I'm just gonna be here as long as I am, um, and then I eventually had to go out both ends, so made it to the bathroom. Was in there for a while, just going through that process in a very weird state of perception. But it's also just like, also felt like I had an awareness either then or this morning, like, holy shit, I wonder if this is just prep for Cambo. It's like it didn't last super long. It was intense, and then it's just massive purging the whole time out of both ends. And then the other Aaron came by one time. He goes, "You okay?" I was like, "Yeah, man." And I said, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Well, I blew out all the candles." I said, why? He goes, well, I got a little freaked out and I thought I was going to burn the house down. So I blew them all out. I said, okay, they were in votives. It was going to be fine, but okay. He's like, I'm going downstairs. I said, all right. And like, we both don't remember though being able to move our mouths. And I remember at the time too, I'm like, I swear my mouth isn't moving. Like I'm not speaking words, but we were having a conversation. And he kind of remembers the same thing. So I'm half convinced it was telepathic. Like it was very, like really, there was no vibration coming out of my mouth. My mouth was not functioning. But we were having a full conversation, and like, I had to verify him with the morning. Like we had that dynamic, right? Those interactions happened. You went downstairs, you came, and you remembered all that in our talk. So, and he didn't remember speaking either. So anyway, that was interesting. But so I showed Zach this morning what it felt like to walk on ketamine and reenacted it. And so we recorded it so we can show it.
So as Aaron said, when you're 10 steps ahead of yourself, but yourself is still 10 steps behind, this is what it feels like.
%, man. All through the house, I swear, I must have looked like that. That is exactly how my body was moving. It was unreal. Like my body was all jelly, and I was just glad I got where I was supposed to go. I didn't puke anywhere on the floor or shit my pants or nothing. It was great. Eye stepping, yeah, for sure, man. Just trying to get one foot in front of the other. Unreal.
There was the second reenactment of this, the first one for Jen, because it was so good, because in the middle of it you like kind of like fake fell down. Yeah, it was so amazing. Like it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, honestly.
I've literally done that like 6 or 7 times today. I did it for each one of them this morning, and then you guys, and then I recorded it. Yeah, it's funny because I was telling you too. I've seen bums around downtown Seattle like that, all cracked out and like, or whatever. Maybe they're ketamined out, right? Just walking around downtown and with their pants half down or some shit, like falling backwards as they're trying to open doors.
Oh my gosh, man, it's too funny. So I'm gonna be making some memes out of that. I think those will do quite well.
Awesome.
So funny, man. That's hilarious. So
he emceed Kevin said I emceed a show like that. It's fucking horrible. I bet, man. I can't imagine. Now, granted, I did 2 bumps of 90 milligrams each, and if I do it again, I'm gonna do bumps like 20 or 30 at most. But yeah, I was like, yeah, that was a lot really fast. I found the K-hole though. I know exactly what that was like, and I was telling you, it reminded me of my natal chart or my star chart, right? Like the actual like fractal pattern. Oh, we got that other video. You want to show a cool ass video we did?
Did I download it to my computer? I think I did. Where is it?
Yeah, how Aaron entered Mercury grade. He says,
I actually, there's like, I don't even know how many hours it would take to actually get across what I've learned from that video and that experiment. It revolutionized my life, I must say.
We spent like 15, 20 minutes on that shit, man. We just haven't recorded a few.
I didn't download it on my computer, so I gotta go find it in the message.
So Kevin said it was embarrassing, though I spit some sickness, but all that came out of my mouth was men.
So while I find this video real quick, you brought up a word for the word of the day.
Yeah.
And I thought that you could start going into it.
Cool.
For everyone. So the word of today will be presented by AA Round.
All right, so profane. So this is in the context usually in religion or in churches, and we can read the definition here. It says, relating or devoted to that which is not sacred or biblical, secular, rather than religious, of a person or their behavior in respect of orthodox religious practice or irreverent, or treating something sacred with irreverence or disrespect. So that's adding a lot of connotations, because we really get down to the word. So there's 2 things. There's holy, which means to be set apart, and then the opposite would be profane. Profane really just means common. It's not something that's set apart. So the plates you pull out for guests for dinner are your profane plates. They're typically your common plates. And if you have nice china or some shit like that, those are your holy plates. They're set apart. They're both plates. They both serve the same function to feed others, but one is a holy, set apart, special, sacred, ritual, ceremonial, dynamic thing. The other stuff is a common everyday use. So profanity, cursing, oh, that's so profane, using all that profanity, using common language, the language of the commoners or the peasant folk or the common people, as opposed to regal language or language that is higher in class or holy or special. So anyway, I love that dynamic. I love understanding profane just means common. That's really all it means. It doesn't have to mean irreverent, disrespectful, heresy. It's just common. In my opinion.
I forgot this video and I started playing on Dropbox and it just like, oh my man, it's just so amazing. Oh my god, the whole concept is just so cool.
It's so cool. It's so cool. And no, as we watch this video, he pulls it up here. This is like very much the K-hole for me was very much like this, the spiraling angles and spiraling triangles.
I have this open in the wrong browser. I need to move it over here because it's got sound to it too. And listening to how much you're like enjoying it is so good. Oh man. Let's see. I should probably download it first to make sure it doesn't lag at all. Let me actually download it. So it's gonna take
all 700 megabytes of it.
It won't be too bad. It'll only just take a few minutes, and we can continue talking about profane until that's time because we were just gonna like jump right over the top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pro. So what's that? Pro to move forward. What's pro? Move forward. And they break down the etymology of it. So if you scroll down on that page.
Yeah. Just 1 second. Let me do that when I figure out where it is.
Cool.
Well, it doesn't. Does it have the etymology?
Yeah, right there. So pro before. So before the temple, or before or outside the temple. So common, just not something that's set apart as a holy, sacred object or a common or a special use object. Because they still had the same thing. They had plates in the tabernacle and the temples. They served the showbread on and things, but they were holy plates. They were holy, set apart utensils made of silver, or gold, or gold plated, or whatever.
So that phantom, though, it's interesting because like what else do we? I mean, or phantom. Like, is that really the first place that ever? Because temple, like, right?
Yeah,
temple
that doesn't seem to match.
There's been in a lot of things, and I mean, like that word had to come from somewhere else that meant temple first, probably, right? Like Latin is a very unlikely final root for etymology because Latin very much so took a lot of world languages and kind of leveraged off of them.
100%, yeah.
So. If we went to like the etymology of temple, we might.
Or even a phantom. I'm curious what that was. Beyond just that one word. Kevin said, "I know the whole. It's been a minute. You know that I'll make you high step as well."
Borrowed.
I'm currently circumambulating Olympia right now. Because I'm still like half an hour out of downtown.
Oh, really?
I decided to take a long way back from Morgan's place.
Is this FANI word that this actually comes from is really from a bunch of several different languages.
Can you pull it up?
What I'm pulling up is there's not like really anything worth looking at. If I find something, then I will. But
okay.
In Faroese, which I don't even actually know where that's from. This Fanin meant Satan, actually.
Oh, really? Before
Yeah.
Satan. Wow, that's interesting. To bring it into the temples, to bring it before Satan.
Uh,
That would make sense. So if Satan, satanic in metaphor, is the lower nature, the common things, the base nature outside of the higher realms of thought and connection to emotion, the profane and common would be the base emotions potentially in that dynamic before Satan.
it's interesting because there's an Arabic character that is this fawn as well. And the noun format of it means a field or discipline, course of study, or domain of knowledge or practice. And the adjective form of it means successful, prosperous, or worthy. So it's weird that on the Arabic side, this idea of this fan, right,
Yeah.
is actually like a good thing, right? Successful, prosperous, worthy, or it's just like what you're interested in, right? The field or discipline idea of it. Like I'm a fan,
Uh-huh.
I'm a fan of that. But when we get into these other kinds of like Latin things, it's then meaning like a temple, or the word fanatic is taken from this phonem as well. So that's kind of,
That's interesting.
I guess that someone who is fanatic is like, I mean, if you start taking like this successful or prosperous or worthy, a lot of these are like has a lot or should have a lot in a certain way. And that fanatic idea is that you like have a lot of spirit behind something, or you're a lot of belief, basically.
Yeah. Huh.
And that it's weird because all of that then that starts. I don't know. It's that's kind of this is kind of a weird word.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It doesn't have like a lot of times words have a very direct place where they obviously came from. And so the fact that it's like in this Faroese, it's associated with like Satan, for instance. Like in Faroese, Tin Fani would be a way of saying like you devil, right? Or they have a colloquialism that is Ein Fanans Tio, it looks like. I don't know how to say this O with that accent over it. But this is like a saying that they have meaning like a long time, but it actually means a devil's time. So,
Okay.
and then also like a satyr is often known as a fawn too, like an FAWN. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
Seder. Yeah.
Like
Solder.
Pan was the fawn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The flute player. So that's weird. A lot of weird connections with that, as you would expect from a word that's like profane. You know, it's a very religious word. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it's
So
used very, yeah, in the religious context most primarily for sure.
yeah, it'd be weird to just start using it outside of that. You know what I mean? Because like basically everything in your life would be profane, pretty much. You know,
Yeah.
you don't have, you technically don't have anything that's like some specific belief system that's like grand says is like this is the sacred thing. You know what I mean? It's just like whatever you really decide that it is the sacred thing, which is fine. I mean,
Right.
that's the belief thing. But when we're normally talking about this, because we're doing like the temple, right? Like a lot of times the way we think of temple is like some established building that's ran by some group. You know what I mean?
Right. No, your own internal temple, whatever you make sacred internally.
Pretty weird. It's funny because
Weird.
the word that I was actually going to go with today is it's also like a very religious word. We're going to go with it tomorrow now instead of today, since you already had one. But we both had the same idea.
Yeah.
Uh.
Oh, you disappeared. There
Yeah,
you are.
my camera decided for some reason it needed to turn off, turn back on. It's pretty weird.
Yay.
I don't know why. Did you go to Deception Pass at all?
I realized on the way here I did actually go over Deception Pass. It dawned on me. I just wasn't really paying attention in the moment. But on the way back here, I'm not taking Deception Pass. I'm going through Olympia and then going back up north to Seattle. I didn't realize Olympia was only an hour north of Seattle, or south. I thought it was like 3 hours, so that's cool.
Yeah, Olympia's.
Whenever we end the show, I'm gonna have to drive. So I've got an hour and a half drive back home, which is fine.
Huh. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I mean, technically, you could drive while you were on the show if you just killed your camera.
Yeah, I could have thought about that, maybe at some point.
If you were so inclined.
Your audio quality sounds way better. Like, it's nice having the mic. It's a much more full range of voice.
Yeah, I mean, I can even like chant and it doesn't lose it. You know, aww. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stays real good. So that's good. There's a bunch of ideas that I still have with the camera. I just started messing with it like 30 minutes before the podcast started, and that was could have done that earlier. Should note, since Maya's saying something about toning right now, we have a bunch of shows starting tomorrow. Kala has a show starting tomorrow. Angela has a show starting tomorrow. Jen, it sounds like, is going to start doing her show tomorrow. And
Awesome.
then also on Friday, Maya and Jen, Friday's a new moon, and Maya and Jen are going to do a show together where they do like some sound healing and kind of like a new moon ritual and ceremony. So everybody should come check that out. Maya says, sometimes after profound etherical healing concerts, I would end up inviting people to tone and contrast to the high, saying, sing with all your eggs and balls. Yeah,
right on.
yeah, full deck. We got a lot of people when the startup shows on here. And then I'm like Frank's show that's weekly. I'm definitely going to rebroadcast it on here as long as he's okay with that. I rebroadcasted like 30 minutes of it as we started up the show, but I will end up talking to him and making sure that he's actually okay with that. If he's also at the same time, like once I get around to make him a featured channel as well, and you could just check it out on his channel too. So we're all the same place, really.
My added a contrast to what you're saying there, because that's profane, I think, using the term your eggs and balls as opposed to other terminology.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. That's how you that's how you reach common people, right? Use common language. Jesus Christ. I mean, to abstain from using some kind of language because of what? Personal morals? I mean, come on. Depends on context and the situation. It's just a form of communication.
Will this open? I don't know what's with these videos that you put on Dropbox, like the encoding of the MP4. They won't play. They're like the only video I've ever seen in my life that won't play in VLC Media Player. And it's not only that they won't play, they actually crash VLC Media Player, which is crazy because VLC plays everything, even stuff that like no other player plays. I mean, I can play them in other stuff, but...
Yeah, because I've used VLC on my PC for a long time, but I've only used like Dropbox. I've never had. I mean, I always download usually the videos before I watch them, just so I don't have to stare at them and watch them while they stream.
Yeah.
But I've never had problem streaming them on my phone or anything. That's where I use it.
If only I could convince you to start using Google Drive instead.
If only I could convince you to start using Dropbox instead. I use Dropbox for everything. Bad. No, it's my favorite.
Yeah, it is, dude. Like the player, if you don't have the app, then the player doesn't even work in a browser. If the videos come down not playing in VLC Media Player, weird stuff like that. Like the Dropbox really just isn't that good. It really isn't.
Guess we got to find some other software because
Google Drive. It works perfect.
No, I have literally like decades of shit on Dropbox. I do not want to have to like start sharing files over to
you can keep using it for whatever you want to do, but you could just start putting stuff you want to share with me on Google Drive. That's
true. I could do that for you, Zach.
Let's Let's see. We can't open it with this other thing though. Probably. Nope. That's the wrong
Is it
video
still downloading?
entirely. No, the video's done downloading now.
Okay.
Wait, maybe this one, because I just realized I was opening the, nope, it's both of the videos. The Crash VLC. All right, very interesting. Cool. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring this up on the screen, and then we can really just like kind of commentary over it, I guess.
Yeah.
We can just leave it over here like that. Does that share audio? Because it needs audio.
Yeah.
Share audio of this. That should share audio, right? So after the stream, yeah, Jen, 5 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be on
5
here.
o'clock Pacific.
Yeah, and that will always be her time, unless that's the time Kala had already told me that she wanted her show. I don't remember what time Kala said. I have to check the messages, but so it would be. But we'll figure that out. Anyways,
Is StreamYard open on the window? No, it's the main Draco.
stream
Or YouTube?
There's no reason why there should be any kind of echo right now.
Yeah, major echo.
Is it gone now?
Is it gone now? Yeah. See, but there's still an echo in the background. I don't know if I'm picking up from your headphones. I've just gotten used to it, but it's definitely there. But then when you brought the other thing on screen, it was 100% full audio echo.
I don't know, because I should be getting the echo too if there's an echo.
Did anybody else hear that? I mean, I definitely
Maybe
heard that
still
echo.
on ketamine.
Whoa, I'm not the one who's troubleshooting with my shirt off and has all these technical difficulties. I'm using the same setup I always use.
Let me open. How am I supposed to do this? What I don't understand why there would be any kind of echo by sharing another screen. Well, this makes no sense. Let's move all of this stuff over to this screen instead. Now it's the only thing on that screen.
Okay.
And if this generates echo now, it makes absolutely no sense. Is there echo now?
Echo, 100%. Is anybody else hearing that? Is that just me? Because when that comes on the screen and I talk, I literally am repeating myself.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's no reason why that should generate an echo.
I know. I'm trying to think if I have any other. No, I don't have StreamYard or YouTube. I don't have anything else open.
Yeah, the Aaron echoing. I mean, let's try something real quick. How's my audio level now?
Much lower.
And now?
Better.
And now?
Much better.
Okay. Well, I can just try and talk louder, I guess. I don't know how you're hearing it out of headphones that are like noise canceling wrapped to my head and not really even that loud, really. So
yeah.
I mean, I can try and be different places, you know what I mean? But
yeah, we'll figure it out over the next few days or whatever.
I don't know.
But I don't know why I don't know what's sharing my voice on the video though when I talk. I'm gonna try to put the video on the screen.
Thinking about it, but no, the screen sharing thing must be a different echo from you. I don't know why.
Echo. Jesus. Very loud. I mean, I could just whatever. I'll just mute my end, man. I mean you're not echoing when it goes.
It makes no sense because it's my second monitor, so I don't really understand why it's doing that. Yet another reason why. I mean, unless application window always shares the audio, it looks like when you share an application window, is it echoing?
Yeah. Echo. No, it's no echo now. But will it play audio?
Okay. So maybe because it was on screen too, I have dual monitors. Maybe because it was on the other screen, it's actually pulling audio still from the other screen.
Gotcha.
I don't really know. So
let's try. Can you play the audio so we can hear the audio?
We'll see whether we can hear the audio inside of this video. Can you hear it?
I can't hear the video.
Yeah, so yet another reason why StreamYard not that great. You cannot share audio from an application window, which is like the most likely place that you would want to share audio from in a lot of cases.
Wait, shouldn't when you hit screen share, you have options to do just a tab too? Can you just do that tab?
It's not in a browser is so it would need to be in a browser, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
you're
So I
right,
can
right, right,
open
right,
it
right.
in basically in Dropbox in a browser, which I've already had it up.
And
Nope, it's not in. It wasn't in. Oh,
yeah, assuming it'll play without lagging, but
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I have to, because it also again with StreamYard, you can only share audio from Chrome tabs, not a tab from any other kind of browser,
uh,
just Chrome. So Dropbox has just, or not Dropbox, StreamYard has really just an enormous amount of limitations. It's kind of crazy. So we'll see whether this will play from this Chrome tab without lagging. It is on Dropbox, so good luck us, but we'll
yeah.
see. And now you should have audio just
I
fine,
don't
yeah?
know. The black line's connected. Look, it looks like a web. Look at it
Yeah?
bouncing.
Do you have audio, Aaron?
Yeah, I do. But it's kind
Okay.
of laggy. Oh, that's better.
Wow.
So basically, what we were doing here, and it gets better here in a second when I take off my camera rotation. I was holding my phone, looking at the at StreamYard with both of our cameras up next to each other, right? And so it's basically a
Yeah.
mirror. And then I was looking at it with my camera, which is functionally another mirror,
We gotta
but
give
a
it.
mirror
Man, I don't
that
know.
I can move
I did get the
around.
video after the triangle showed up, and we saw him
So
bouncing a little bit.
then
But
I
it'd be
was
cool to make that
basically
happen again. That
turning it
was
and moving it in and moving it out and playing around with it like
some
that,
shit.
and
I
basically
think
creating
there's
this
enough black
tunneling
bars as it was
effect
rotating that it.
that was
I don't know.
very fun to play with. Let's see, can we full screen this over here? That's better. So in a second here, we'll see it get where. Okay, so see, I'm screen flipping right there and stuff. It's not good. So right here, I turn off the screen flipping, and that definitely was not weed in a pipe that you saw right there. Definitely not. So
Eh,
now we see that it's totally like this
yeah.
fractal tunnel, right?
Wow.
Look at that
Look
shit.
at it, Zach Mortar. Zach Super Fluidic Mortar in Mortimer, and it's your quote too. That's spiraling down through. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
so
Tickering
I
across the
learned
screen
from
still.
this that
Wow.
basically you can create
Wow.
any geometry that you want. It's all completely
Wow.
based off of how much you turn the angle of the camera
Oh
before
man.
you move it in at first. And then you can also, as you'll see later in
Look
this
at
I'm
that
video,
recording all
shit.
this shit, bro. We got this.
you can start
This is
getting like,
incredible.
you can like wobble it and stuff. And so like, see, there's almost a perfect square because I turned the camera 90
Wow.
degrees.
Yeah. Do it again.
Do it again.
Yeah. Wow.
And depending on the rate in which you like
Wow.
move into it, it
Look
will
at your
change
quote,
the rate
man.
that it
It's so
spins
fucking
down
cool.
into the
It's
rabbit
tickering in
hole or
all the
whatever.
all dimensions. Look
And
down the spiral. Your quote is
if you
tickering
pull
and
it back,
spiraling
it
down
actually
that
ends up
or
then
up from it.
functionally
Dude, how fucking cool
recoding
is
the
that?
entire thing with the wider thing. Like you'll see.
And my
See,
face
so
is
now
right in
you
there
can
also.
fly
Holy
down
shit.
it. We're flying down a
Yeah.
hall of Aaron's faces.
Wow. Ooh, nice. Wow. Look at it go, man.
It's so cool. It should be noted that all you're hearing is Aaron's voice right here, but I am
No
geeking
doubt.
out
That's
so
him laying
hard on
salt
the other
rock
end of
Oh
the
into
yeah,
it.
phone.
because I was recording this on my phone. Yeah, as we're
Yeah,
doing it.
I was geeking out
Oh my
so
god.
hard. Like,
Oh yeah, because you're in my headphones. So yeah,
yeah.
your voice.
Yeah. Dude.
Watch, it gets better, man. It gets full of eyes here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Look at that shit.
Dude. You know what this feels like? This feels like
I came to
you know what
learn
this
in
feels
the
like?
long run that
This is us
actually like
playing with the system.
being
This is us
very
going into
slow
the system and playing
with
with it.
it was actually, and not moving it a lot was the way to go.
Wow,
Like, see the
wow, wow,
eyes?
wow,
That's so
wow.
psychedelic right there, dude. Like, just the
No
eyes
doubt.
everywhere.
Wow.
Like keep flashing too, because it keeps.
Yeah, the
Wow.
No
flashing tunnel
doubt.
just boom, 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 boom. The color even changes of the flash because your eyes get the whole thing, so now it's red.
Yeah.
Wow, man. It's totally like DMT in some ways.
And
Crazy.
then you can pull it out and you could like, cause see now we're traveling down the tunnel again, and then it stops it, and then it travels down the tunnel again. Now I'm gonna tell you, like,
Wow.
this just looks cool and everything, but also if you can take the time, or if you
Jesus.
can extrapolate in your mind as
Oh,
to
man.
basically how
That's so
this
cool.
is setting your
Wow.
perception
And flip and
and
rotate. Oh, okay. So you
recreating
got
your
upside down.
reality
Wow,
in
no shit.
any moment,
Wow, look at that. Look at
this
it pulsing.
concept right here
Like
utterly
DNA.
changes the way that you would
Holy
perceive
shit, look at
reality.
it, man.
Utterly
Looks like DNA
destroys
from
it.
top down.
Look
Absolutely.
at it
Like,
bouncing. Look at it
yeah, it's
bouncing.
And your
so
name.
cool.
And your name's on all of it.
Yeah.
And your name's on all of it. Wow.
And just these slight switches, and it gets like totally different, and just the ability to change. Man, I mean, like,
Wow.
Aaron, I'm gonna like I can't
Yeah.
talk about this in like a
Look at it
podcast
bounce.
setting. Well, you're over here. Like, we have to just geek out on this
Interesting, because you're
concept
making a
for like a
rigid
whole day
construct
one day,
bounce within it.
and just
Yeah.
talk
And it
about it,
restabilizes.
because like I could
Replicates.
honestly go on forever. Like, Joe and I spent like 2 hours just going back and forth about this concept after we like got off the phone with you.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, it's just amazing. It is so
Wow.
amazing.
Look at the red and yellow rainbow. It's gone.
Look at that.
Oh, flash black spiral. Wow.
So, and I mean, if you think about it, that's basically how
Wow.
like a spiral galaxy is generated. You know what I mean? It's those two arms wrapping into each other, like the six and the
Yeah, I
nine
know what you're talking
merging,
about, though.
right?
Yeah. You can still see it trailing. Oh, there's no layer.
It's so weird. It is amazing.
Yeah, like we have a 6-minute video here, but it was endlessly entertaining for like 15 minutes. It definitely could have been longer.
Oh, I could have kept doing this for the next like several hours. Honestly.
I know.
Because the thing is
Wow.
about it is that whatever picture is on the other screen in a certain way, you can then like use that to paint the whole reality.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
But that functionally brings
No
like a
doubt.
weird format of
Cameras up in front.
triangulation that like my input in my reality creates an imprint
we're gonna play- we're
that
gonna be
then
playing with that a lot.
recreates itself into my future, basically. And the byproduct of this is that like we can see in a certain way where our mind, our thoughts about reality are functionally painting the fractal that we're going down, and the only reason it's recursively cycled is actually because the thing was moving. But if we can align it to exactly what we want and have it so it's a completely straight tunnel that we're going down, and then dive down that tunnel, functionally you should have an autonomous recreation of exactly the perception that you want to have. And you could use this to, I mean, function for everything. I mean, from recoding your memory to recoding your future. So like honestly, like the stuff that clicked in my brain with this thing, like I don't know. I think reality broke. Honestly. It's so
Dude, that was some
crazy.
shit. Yeah, that's some shit, man.
Amazing though. What a fun thing to play with.
Very fun. You know what else was fun? I stopped, I was hungry, and I got a hot corn dog from a gas station market, and it was really fucking good, and I'm very glad I did it.
Hot corn dog.
Yep, I haven't had one in a
Oh,
long
man.
time. It was so good.
All right, so I would like to smoke real fast. Do you want to be on
Okay.
here alone for a second, Aaron, or should we play some music?
Yeah, why don't we play some music, and I can get out and stretch and take a break.
All right, we will find some
Be back
music
soon.
real quick. I think we'll go with this. So what we're gonna play is, again, his name's Reinhard Burr. We've heard him
Yeah, he's
before
got
on
cool
here.
shit.
He does a lot of live looping and such. He actually, in this video, that horn that you talked about the other night,
Uh-huh.
he has that horn with him.
Awesome. Shofar. Shofar goes so far, making cool ass sounds. All right, that's plugged in.
And we'll stop that and we'll come over here and do this. All right, so a little bit of Reinhard Burr looping somewhere in the world, probably Germany or something. And we're going to take a break and enjoy the music. And I love you all and be back in a bit. All right. And I am back. So, lemon bars sounds delicious. Talking about that in chat.
I saw that. And
Yeah.
mic volume, might want to pop that up a little bit.
Turn the mic volume up now. Maybe just make the mic closer. I don't know. We'll turn. Maybe if
Mic
I
control,
put it
bro.
the other way. All right. We'll go with that. Is that good?
Cool. That's cool. Sounds good.
I'm trying to minimize any type of headphone bleed that you're experiencing too. So.
Yeah, and I think it's still there a hair, but it's definitely better than it was the first half of the show. But it's barely there.
Okay. Probably make this happen in a different way here.
Make it happen different way. Oh, there we go. Put this ticker up at the bottom. Should have had that up the whole time during the show. We're not doing a quote by Zach Superfluidic Mortimer.
How's the level right now? Test.
Yeah,
Test.
sounds good to me.
Okay.
It's just the slight echo. Really, it's even more minor than I think it was before the break, so it's tolerable for now. When you figure out the shit and switch to OBS, I mean, we'll get that shit all cleared out. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like really like I try mic in a different position, farther from the headphones. I had it like up in my face and turned way down.
Gotcha.
So
I know what you mean, bro.
Trying to get That's weird though. I mean, I guess probably actually the best thing is for me to turn down the volume in the headphones. So,
Yeah.
problem is, I had ear infections nonstop from 0 to 3 years old and have a 17% hearing loss in one ear and a 25% hearing loss in the other ear, supposedly. That's what they say.
Interesting.
I don't know, because I've always just turned the volume up, so...
Right. We'll have to see if we can't make that go away. So there's no issues. It'll be good.
Thank you, Sam, for sending out the lots of love. I'm open to receiving it.
Yep.
I appreciate that. And everyone else, hopefully they are open to receiving it as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm excited about really just next week, really just life as a whole right now, but like next week and everything. I feel like my life keeps getting like cooler, and then the next week gets cooler, and then the next week gets going. It's definitely very welcomed at this point in time. Like I
No
enjoy it.
doubt.
That's for sure.
Yep.
So.
Very much.
Yep.
Yep.
Walter Russell. We watched a Walter Russell video last time, and I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to watch number 2 in that same series, perhaps.
Yeah, I didn't get a seat because I was on my phone the whole time. We were out doing the fire and doing s'mores during that video. I couldn't read anything anyway because it was all on my phone. So it'll be good. Even if this one has a lot of text, I'll be able to read it this time.
Okay, so this next one is only 5 minutes long.
Cool.
So, and 360p. Cool.
Yay! Perfect for StreamYard.
High quality. So, we're gonna watch the second video from this TEC series that we started watching. In the first one, we basically gave an introduction to Walter Russell and the fact that he has basically we'll call it a theory of everything. The functional basis of that theory of everything is that everything is waving, and he tries to explain basically everything through wave mechanics. And out of that, we've gotten such theories as what was originally electric universe theory or luminiferous aether theory, but in more modern times, kind of fallouts of that theory oftentimes sound like superfluid vacuum theory or space vortex theory. They're not exactly the same as what electric universe was, but that's kind of what it's turned into today. Arguably, it's not entirely gone the way that Walter Russell would have taken it. So that's part of the reason why I think it's particularly interesting, is that it's a place where we can very possibly get a completely different look at reality, that might actually be accurate. Walter Russell was, in his time, considered to probably be the smartest man in the world. Nikola Tesla thought so. They were alive at the same time. And additionally, Walter Russell really just was in so many disciplines. You know, he's a scientist, he's a mathematician, he's an author, he's a sculptor, he's a painter. He's just like so many different things. I didn't even cover all of them right there. He's very much so a philosopher as well. So we're taking a look at Walter Russell to see what he thinks about reality and see if we can apply it to our own understanding to, you know, collect more information. Maybe it will make us think things. We'd love to hear what it makes you think. So definitely let us know in the comments if you have any insight to reality based off of this video. We would love to hear it. So we're gonna go ahead and play that video now, and hopefully it has more talking than the last video, which was like 12 minutes of reading and then 2 audio clips, one from Walter Russell and one from his wife. His wife was also unbelievably brilliant, and as the standard patriarchal culture is now, no one ever talks about her. Her name was Lao Russell, L-A-O. She was extremely gifted as well. Probably a lot smarter than a lot of the men who have been postulated as the huge scientists of the time. But especially during that time, women scientists not getting a whole lot of credit prior to like Marie Curie, and she was before Curie. So here we go.
We must bear in mind that the primitive pagan idea was that the earth was all of creation. Man then thought of a heaven as surrounding the earth. Heaven even had a limitation with holes punched in its boundaries for stars. Pagan man had no idea of the limitless space and billions of suns. He thought locally. Even his god was for this earth alone, and even for certain races alone. The Greek gods were man-formed and had human emotions and desires. That pagan, man-formed god still persists. A god made in the image of man. A god with arms and legs for which he has no use, for in a limitless zero experience. A god angry and wrathful with humans, who could not possibly be omnipresent because of his objective limits. To know God, man must know what light is and energy, magnetism, electricity, gravitation, and God's processes in building bodies, which manifests his presence and his purpose. And he must know the mysteries of life, death, and growth, and of the seed which even the giant oak disappears, but still retains its identity. And he must know how man retains his identity when he disappears also. It is not possible for this age of man to comprehend God unless false conceptions of electricity, magnetism, gravitation, energy, and the construction of the nuclear atom as now conceived are eliminated and replaced with nature's ways and processes. God is light, and God is love, and God is unyielding law. God is the invisible, motionless, sexless, undivided, and unconditioned white magnetic light of omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent mind. God's knowing is magnetic. God's thinking is electric. The Creator centers all units of creation.
Look, it's what I was making with the phone.
It is the Creator's energy which
was.
created
Same
the
thing.
universe. The Creator is the source of energy which causes all motion. The Creator's mind is your mind. The Creator extends the energy of its mind to every
What you're
atom
listening
which
to is
moves
functionally
around its
Walter
center of
Russell's
eternal
philosophy
stillness,
on what God
where it
really
takes
was,
its
as opposed
omnipresent
to a
stand in
pagan
every
or
thought, ring, and
anthropomorphized God.
cell. Whatever knowledge you ever acquire comes to you from your mind within. Your senses cannot acquire knowledge. They can only be informed of effects of motion. And they can be mightily deceived by what they see. The sole function of electricity is to divide the apparent one substance into an apparent two. Electricity is the force used by mind to manifest thinking in this 3D world. The result is a very convincing illusion of matter and form. There is no force in nature which holds an atom, sun, planet, or galaxy together by inward pull, which immediately invalidates the academic nuclear theory of the atom. Nature does not attract, nor does it repel. It compresses in a...
Gonna pause this video literally just to say hi to Mello. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by even when you're super busy. That is super cool of you. Really appreciate that. You're a good guy.
Vacuum, and the vacuum restores its normalcy. Electricity creates tensions, which the universal vacuum releases from tension. Gravity and magnetic light are one, but the connotations of gravity differentiates it from the word mind of light, just as the soul differentiates it from the word God. They are the same, however, for God is the universal soul, while soul in man means identity, or being, as a unit of the universal being. The moment that electricity divides the one changeless condition into pairs, it is necessary to balance and control those pairs. Gravity is the magnetic control and balancer, although its power never multiplies or divides. Where gravity is, stillness is. An area of stillness always surrounds gravity shafts.
And a moment of stillness always surrounds gravity shafts. That's an interesting way to end the video.
It was a very sudden end to the video, too.
No
It felt
doubt
like
it was, yeah.
It was
Okay.
we're
Gravity
just
likes to
gonna
work
stop
the
here.
shaft.
You heard it here
Really?
first, ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
what we're adding on?
Gravity likes to work the shaft.
Gravity, it
Big
also
fan
knows
of the
stillness,
shaft.
resides when it works the shaft is where it was found residing. Jesus.
Basically, the function of what he's saying there is that, like, your senses, the forces of reality are really just illusions separating the one thing into many things, but that they don't really exist, but rather are perceived, is kind of the idea. And in more New Age spirituality, that's kind of been the point that people have gotten to philosophically and through a variety of other experiences. And it was really kind of the concept even actually held with really old philosophy like the Vedas. So Tesla, late in his life, through working with Swami Vivekananda, was turned on to kind of like Vedic physics as well, and definitely turned this way a lot. And Walter Russell was a big thinker like this. The person who established all of the functions for magnetism, James Clerk Maxwell, was also functionally a believer in Walter Russell's theories. He's subscribed to luminiferous aether theory. We stopped following this because of an experiment called the Michelson-Morley experiment that took place, and basically claimed that with the measurement they had done, which was basically a room-sized experiment, they had measured that there was no permeating waves operating throughout reality because they would have been picked up by this experiment. This experiment was later scaled up into what is known as LIGO now, where we have two different places that pretty much create perpendicular beams, like so, right? Like they form a 90-degree. And then there's a station that measures here in the middle, and through the measurement of these two spaces, light bouncing out from the middle and then coming back, the idea is that they're trying to measure whether or not there is any waves going through reality. Curiously enough, they did pick up waves, and they called them the cosmic microwave background, magnetic waves permeating throughout the universe. The problem with them finding that is that technically this means Russell's right and Einstein's wrong, because Einstein does not account for this at all. So that's a huge problem with the way that our world works. Functionally, the gravity that is the observational format of Einstein's theory, there is something that works like that, right? But inside of the schema of what his theories were, they're not all inclusive, because they're not really taking into account these kinds of things. And Einstein himself knew this. This is why general relativity was later expanded to special relativity, and special relativity was never actually a completely finished theory. When Einstein died, special relativity was still incomplete, leaving things in it like concepts like spooky action at a distance and other things of that nature. So really the point with that is that our physics, which is kind of like the core of all sciences, is really physics. That science really isn't operating off of a fully accurate premise at this point in time. Although the premise it is operating off of seems to explain pretty much our local reality. When we go, beyond that, we start running into an awful lot of problems real quick when we get outside of the scales that is currently used with to, like, launch a rocket in the air or keep a satellite orbiting or anything like that. So, yeah.
And so it's also that the electromagnetic. So I send you a link in Messenger. The electric universe theory. It takes you to the page. There's another channel that does a lot of videos, updated videos on different science and research. There's a whole bunch of scientists that are now absolutely adhering to the electric universe theory, Bernoulli current or Birkeland currents, I think this was, and like just this whole dynamic. So I've dove into this for a lot of years from a lot of different people, and it's ultimately it's far more comprehensive view of the universe. I mean, it makes everything else make sense that already makes sense with modern physics, but it also explains dark matter, all this other shit that's, apparently the majority of the universe is dark matter, and they don't really know what it does. And it explains all these things. It takes into account the actual mathematical equations, theoretically, how this actually makes sense of other things. And it's just something that is really starting to become recognized among popular mainstream science. They're just kind of a little outside the main ring, but there are many, many, many mainstream big name scientists and stuff that support the electric universe theory, are constantly progressing that theory and getting the math and the science behind it. There's channels up, there's resources like the website that I sent over, and there's a lot of different dynamics on it. So, and the one I had, there's a paid version of the PDF of the electric universe that was initially put together by Wallace Thornhill and David Talbot. But there's a free version too, I think, on the one I got, where they've updated the PDF over time. So it's the newer versions, I think, are free. This may be maybe the newest version. They're charging like $25 for the link, or you get the intro and the chapter 1 for free. But there's a lot of books, there's a lot of resources, and obviously we'll keep watching videos and stuff on this over time. But it's really, it really connects to energy, how energy works, how you experience energy. It really makes sense of a lot of things in a way that, what we're taught in school or even university just that doesn't account for, because it doesn't consider the same way that they shit on Gerson therapy and all these things are very well scientifically studied, but they just, in the main universities, say that's bunk science, and then that's it. And then you just don't give it any credence. Then you find it on a YouTube video, it's like, oh, well, you saw it on a YouTube video. It's like, yeah, but it's also life-changing information by someone else who was blacklisted back in the day. This is number 3?
This is not number 3. You brought up electricuniverse.info, Electric Universe Resources, which I linked in the chat if you want to check that stuff out. But I just decided that we're actually going to watch another video, and we'll probably do some commentary over it, because this set of videos actually completely changed my life. When I was introduced to it by my wonderful mentor, Christopher Johnson, who has now passed from this interesting realm and projected himself into another dream of his choosing. He introduced me to this when I first started communicating with him, and I thought I knew a lot about science, and he introduced me to reality pretty much. But this video was this set of videos, very influential. This goes into plasma physics. It's on the basis of electric universe theory, and most importantly, has a significant amount of, well, you'll come to find out through these videos, which we will progressively watch and do commentary over, as you will see shortly. They are available to be used for educational purposes, so we're not breaking any copyright here or anything. But a lot of this is based around the concept of magnetic poles, and them either being oriented like this or like this. And when they're like that, and then they're farther out, or they're at different orientations, or they're this way and at different orientations, we get all kinds of neat shapes. And if you start playing with that too much, you come to find out you get just about every shape you could ever possibly imagine. And it's all done through the bending of supercharged light, otherwise known as plasma functionally. And the primer fields are a video that introduce us through laboratory tests and a great presentation associating it to small things and big things, exactly how that stuff works, and shows us actually it being recreated in a laboratory right now inside of, and it's not even, that's not even completely it would actually work better than it's in a laboratory, because we can't create a complete vacuum here. We do not know how to do that, so not on Earth. So these are created in as close as we possibly can to a complete vacuum to mimic what a complete vacuum would be like. But these objects on a cosmological level, the variance that you would see in any of their creation is actually a byproduct of the fact that we can get like a 99% vacuum, but a 100% vacuum is hard to get, and that 1% makes actually a pretty big change. The difference between 100% and 99% is huge. It's doing it perfect versus having problems, right? Like, and that's a ton of variance. So we're gonna go ahead and start the video now. And is this the right one? Nope, moved it over here. Over there. Close that. Close that.
You had me at the double bull Taurus animation.
You had
Sold.
me at hello. Abzu and Tiamat.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Void spaces. That is a laboratory experiment, creating that with two magnetic bulls and beams of plasma being shot into them. That is the magnetic fields that are generated. This is you in a jar. Please, no copyright strike. We do not make any money. Thank you. Prepare for the visual hypnotic induction. 0.
Dolby.
Here we see the representation of a single photon of light. Scientists understand many of the properties of light, but light still holds some mysteries that perplex us. Thomas Young first demonstrated the wave nature of light in 1803 with his famed double-slit experiment, and ever since then the world's top minds have debated what the results of this experiment actually mean. Although Young's double-slit experiment is repeated many times every day, we are always left with the same perplexing question that goes to the core of quantum mechanics and even our very understanding of matter. Is light a particle or a wave? Experiments have revealed that light has the properties of both a particle and a wave, but how can it be both a particle and a wave? Then we find this to be the case for all electromagnetic radiation and all matter. This leaves the world's brightest minds still searching for answers to this basic question: is matter a particle or a wave? In this video series, you will be shown the solution to our dilemma. In fact, you are looking at that solution right now. The fields shown around the green photon are electromagnetic fields of opposite polarity, with the red field being of north magnetic orientation and the blue field being of south magnetic orientation. It will be proven that this is actually the way that magnetic fields are structured around all matter. This applies from the smallest particles we have discovered to the largest structures in space. If you were to measure these fields with a compass, their magnetic fields would appear identical to the magnetic fields of a bar magnet. This also means that when we measured the magnetic fields of matter with other methods in the lab, we also assumed that matter had a bar magnet type of magnetic field. But this assumption was a mistake. So until now, we have incorrectly assumed that electrons and other matter have a magnetic field shape as shown in this drawing. But we must realize that the fields around an electron, as well as around all other matter, are actually two opposing bowl-shaped electromagnetic fields. Unless we properly understand this basic magnetic field structure, we will never be able to properly understand the fundamental forces of matter from the subatomic to the galactic. In this presentation, you will be shown that correcting this one basic misunderstanding of magnetic fields also explains most all of our problems in physics and astrophysics. I believe that this magnetic field structure is an intrinsic property of all matter. Therefore, you cannot have a particle of matter unless these magnetic fields are there to form it and confine it. To further understand these magnetic fields and validate this new theory, hundreds of experiments were conducted utilizing a vacuum chamber and specially constructed bowl-shaped magnetic field emitters. When 70,000 volts of electricity is applied, the plasma formations that you are now seeing appear. A variety of purging gases were used in these experiments. This includes ordinary air, argon, hydrogen, and helium. The spacing and orientation of the magnetic field emitters were varied in many ways as well. The magnetic field emitters were suspended on non-conductive, high-strength microfilament line attached to magnetic supports on the inner surface of the vacuum chamber. Then, to hold these supports in place, high-strength magnets were utilized on the outer surface of the vacuum chamber. This arrangement allows for the adjustment of the magnetic field emitters while the experiment is running.
Wow.
The small microfilament support lines also offer minimum disturbance of the plasma flow around the fields and therefore a more realistic experimental result.
How fun would that thing be to play with, dude?
Oh, dude. Yeah.
It would be so great.
Yeah. There's a bunch of really cool ferrocell videos from a couple people too. I'll have to find them because they're certainly worth watching. You know what a ferrocell is?
It's a magnetic cell.
A variety of bowl-shaped magnetic field emitters were utilized in these experiments in order to reveal how changing the geometry of the field emitters affects the matter around them. As you can clearly see here, a change of magnetic field emitter geometry also results in a change in the shape of the plasma formation within the vacuum chamber. By adjusting the exposure settings on the camera, an X-shaped pattern is revealed between the magnetic field emitters that is amazingly similar to the shape of the Red Square Nebula.
It's a tetragrammaton.
You can even see the bowl shape of the magnetic fields in the Red Square Nebula.
God, I love this video so much. Like, I am such a nerd for this video, honestly.
Oh, you just wait. So I got some videos here I'm gonna send you, and they're just like this, but they're different. They're awesome.
It's good to see you, Andrew. Thanks for coming by, man.
Yeah, hi, Andrew.
Notice how increasing the spacing between the magnetic field emitters transforms the shape of the nucleus until finally a disk of plasma forms around the nucleus. Also notice the rapid spin of the plasma around the magnetic field emitters, even though the field emitters are stationary.
What's interesting to note there with that spin is that they've only induced things at specific
Here you can
points
clearly see
that
how
are
even a
static.
single magnetic field emitter controls the shape of the plasma around it. Notice how it confines the plasma to the lower part of the vacuum chamber.
Hey, Tiffany, good to see you.
In preparing for this research, I pondered what other geometries of bowl-shaped magnetic field emitters would be beneficial for this research. I carefully studied the structures in space for guidance in the design of a new bowl-shaped field emitter.
Note that, like a good scientist, he studied
From the structures in
reality
space
for
to the
what he
structures of
wanted.
matter revealed in the collisions
Not
at the
just
Large
made
Hadron
something up.
Collider at CERN, all sources of data were considered. I carefully studied the amazing research underway at the Large Hadron Collider, and I found a wealth of evidence for this new theory in the collisions there. This evidence will be discussed at length in Primer Fields Part 4. In reviewing a video from CERN, I noticed something quite bizarre, and it wasn't in the data from the collisions. It was in the shape of CERN's most well-recognized building, the Globe of Science and Innovation in Geneva, Switzerland. Not only was it a bowl shape, but the design of the building also had a hole in the top of the dome, exactly as my theory would call for. So I made a magnetic scale model of the CERN dome, placed a set of them in my vacuum chamber, and fired it up. Not only did these CERN bowls form a spherical shape at the center of the reaction, but they also formed a disk of plasma around the nucleus, as well as ejection jets along the axis. After running the experiments for a few days with the CERN bowls, they were removed from the vacuum chamber and photographed, revealing the patterns you see here. These amazing patterns will also be discussed further in Part 4 of this series of videos.
Realize that if that was the beginning of your reality, these waves carrying out would basically create the spaces where matter could exist, where an existence could exist, where a planet would distribute itself, all kinds of things.
Then once
like
it was
that.
realized that the key pattern required for this theory was found in the dome at CERN, it was also discovered that CERN was not the only place with the required pattern. The pattern has been there for centuries at the Pantheon in Rome, which has been referred to as the Vault of the Heavens. Then the required shape was also found at St. Peter's Basilica.
It's almost as though
Then one of my
they
favorites
know
was
something.
found at St. Paul's Cathedral in Medina,
A
Malta.
little bit.
Notice the angels circling the hole at the top of the dome, and compare that to the glowing ring that is found inside the bowl-shaped magnetic field emitters in the vacuum chamber. Why are these angels on fire exactly where they should be? Much more on this dome and the others later in this series of videos.
Should be noted that Malta has what's known to alchemists as basically conjugation chambers and tunnels all over the place, so that's weird.
Yep.
So it seems that people often want a sign from God that we are not alone. Sometimes God does give us a sign if we just pay attention. Sometimes he even puts that sign up over the capital of the United States of America. Then we will take a look at Newgrange in Ireland. This structure predates Stonehenge by over 200 years, and yet it too contains unbelievable details related to this new theory of the structure of all matter. More on Newgrange later in this video series. Here we have the assortment of the magnetic field emitters that were utilized in my research and in this video series. These emitters all have the same basic properties, but they do vary in size, geometry, and magnetic field strength. The design and construction of these field emitters are covered by patents that have been filed in both the United States of America and internationally. No rights to the use of the technology covered by these patents is granted or implied, as clearly stated in the statement at the beginning of this video. Notice how these ordinary non-magnetized steel balls are held in place at the center or nucleus of these field emitters. Then we will take a look at the data from the sun. You will be shown how the results from the vacuum chamber experiments match the data and features of the sun. This includes super rotation about the equator and the patterns of the surface flows on the sun. We will also see the amazing confirmation of this new theory in the data from probes such as the Ulysses mission, which mapped many of the characteristics of the sun. You will even be given an entirely new theory as to the true cause of the solar cycle and an explanation of the so-called coronal heating problem. This will all be covered in detail in part 5 of this video series.
No doubt, son.
You will clearly see how this new theory explains the structure of not only the sun, but also all matter, from electrons, to atoms, to molecules, to planets, to stars, to nebula, and even to entire galaxies.
And to your spirit. How many hours do you think this guy spent?
You will see
nerding
amazing
out?
proof of these bowl-shaped magnetic fields at work on
Countless.
and around
Couldn't
Saturn in part 2 of this video series.
Just on like having the images of a single galaxy and trying to recreate it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So many hours.
We will look at how
Look how
relativistic
amazing
jets
that
are
is.
truly formed, and experiments that were conducted in the lab to confirm this new jet formation theory. This will be covered in great detail in part 2 of this video series. Part 6 of this video series includes over an hour of video and images of the high voltage plasma experiments that were conducted in
Nice.
the vacuum chamber. After completing hundreds of these vacuum chamber experiments, I am positive that the answers to both the energy crisis and global warming are now within our reach.
I put a number on it,
Utilizing this new
hundreds.
knowledge of the true forces that hold all matter together, a radically new type of energy reactor is in the works. These energy reactors will be very small, safe, and relatively inexpensive. So the dream of low-cost electricity is at the door. As you can see here, we are already well on our way to fulfilling our dream. Plus, there is an additional benefit to this technology: zero carbon emissions. We still have some work to do, but it really shouldn't take that long. now that we finally have the true understanding of the forces that bind all matter. Testing on this new reactor should begin by the summer of 2013. But there is other technology based on this new theory that has already been in the testing phase for over 6 years. Results so far have been amazing, and this product will be announced in the first quarter of 2013. But that's for later. For now, let's get back to how these fields work to confine matter. Here we see how the plasma spins and flows. In upcoming sections of this video series, we will examine this flow in more detail and its relationship to the spokes in the rings of Saturn and the solar wind. Then we will take a look at how these bowl-shaped magnetic field emitters cause both magnetized and non-magnetized balls to form the amazing arrays shown here.
Awesome.
The only thing holding these balls in position are the magnetic fields emanating from these two bowls. Could this truly be the way that atomic and molecular structures are properly explained? I believe
Could
so.
be.
Let's take a look at the forces at work in the nucleus area of these bowl-shaped magnetic fields. Shown here are ordinary non-magnetized 5mm steel balls. These bowl-shaped magnetic fields induce a magnetic field into each steel ball,
They're
which causes them to
negatropic.
repel each other while at the same time keeping the balls structured together. So this mysterious force not only causes the steel balls to become packed tightly together, but it also keeps them apart. Then it does this while at the same time forming a geometrically balanced pattern, just as we find within atoms and molecules. Notice the vibration in all of the steel balls as each new ball is added to the nucleus area.
How fucking
What we see at
cool
work
is that?
here is what I believe would truly
Yep.
be defined as the strong force.
Fucking cube right there, man.
Yep, that's a hexagon.
Then we will take a look at some
Yeah, but it's
incredible
also like
cutting-edge
a
research
cube,
from
you know?
scientists at IBM.
Yeah.
This is an atomic force microscope image
circle.
of the actual structure within a nanographene molecule. Now we see the image of the nanographene molecule superimposed on top of the array of steel balls that were formed in the nucleus area of the bowl-shaped magnetic fields.
Yep. Are those plexiglass rods they're spinning around?
The steel balls are supported by a sheet of clear acrylic, which does not come in contact with the magnetic bowls at all. Therefore, it is only the magnetic fields of the red and blue bowls which are responsible for the shape of the patterns we observe here. Here we see 3mm steel balls in the nucleus area of the magnetic fields. Notice how they can trade positions with the other balls in the array, but the basic geometric pattern is always maintained. Now let's take a look at how these non-magnetized steel balls form orbital patterns around these bowl-shaped magnetic field emitters. Again, notice how even in the orbital area, these magnetic fields cause the steel balls to be packed tightly together, and yet at the same time they repel each other. Even 25 millimeter non-magnetized steel balls follow these same rules. I believe it is time to reevaluate our theories of atomic structure and the forces that work therein. As you can see, a wide range of steel balls were placed around these magnetic fields with the same basic results. Here we see 5 millimeter non-magnetized steel balls forming a complex array of orbitals around the nucleus. Notice how the steel balls all repel each other.
It's important to remember that these steel balls on here, they are not magnetic at all. They're just steel. They're not magnetic. So there's no reason why they should keep themselves away from each other, except for the fact that when they're in here, they're becoming magnetized and they're fractally replicating the same thing that they're experiencing. So they keep them in a fractal scaled distance away from each other. So they're just repeating the same thing that's happening in the space, even though they're not magnetized themselves. That's kind of not supposed to happen.
The red and blue balls are identical in construction and magnetic strength. The only difference is the magnetic polarity of the balls. The red balls are north magnetic polarity and the blue balls are south magnetic polarity. Notice the various ways in which these balls will bond with each other. Here we see how the large and small balls interact with each other magnetically. Notice how the small blue ball is forced to flip over and then floats within the large red ball. The small red ball responds quite differently, as you can clearly see. Then we find the same rules in effect within the large blue ball. Now you see how the orbital distance of the small ball set is determined by the spacing between the large red and blue balls.
Yeah.
How amazing is that, dude? He's like telekinetically controlling those in a certain way. If you could power up your hands with energy, with that polarity, you'd be able to move other magnetic objects just by moving your hands away from each other.
This same principle applies to magnetic balls placed within the orbital equator area perpendicular to the large balls. In this demonstration, a singular magnetic ball is held in place by the magnetic balls, and then a second magnetic ball is added.
They're just spinning so fast because of that shit.
Wow.
Jasmine.
Then it was discovered that this orbital effect is there even when the polarity of the magnetic field emitters is reversed.
Huh.
If you're watching this video, I'd like to know, don't tell yourself that you can't get it, because you can, and you are very smart, and you are very capable, and you share a mind with all other things. This video pretty much proves that in a certain way. And so this thing you're doing, being a sponge, that's the perfect thing to do.
And also, as you're listening, like, look for one little thing, something that sticks out that connects to you, your magnetic field, something that goes on inside of you. That's how really we haven't been taught to process scientific information. You always want to also relate it to your own metaphors and your own experience. So it's not just about understanding the facts and how it works in the universe. Like, it's all you, man. So like every time I see this, I see shit inside of me. I'm like, holy shit, it gives me a new way to understand myself and the universe, but me. Like, it's the number one thing. You want to find ways it relates to you in some way.
Yeah, definitely look for the relevance. When you find something that's relevant to you, that'll make it click a lot faster. So think about the things that you know in your life and things that are similar shapes to stuff that you may be seeing in this video. And when you find something that you're like, oh, that's that thing, then just, that sends you down kind of this contemplative path in the long run. So,
Shape or effect. So if you see that effect on
yeah,
something, you can remember things like this and make correlations in your own mind. And yeah,
that's a good pointer. The effects especially too.
yeah.
It's fun to note that that ball that's inside of there is not magnetized. So technically, it should either be stuck in the middle or be able to be like pushed through, you would think, in a normal shape like that. But because of the opposing magnetic fields, it functionally gets levitated where they meet.
Okay, so hold on real quick before you. I mean, I don't know if you can because of what you just said of how it gets held in that pipe, right? Or sorry, gets held. Sorry, the ball gets held in between those two.
Yeah.
This is why right here. I just sent you a video. It's a 1.5 minute video. It's Lenz's law, and it shows you, or it should show you a similar thing with putting a steel ball down a copper pipe. And probably explain some of what's going on there. It's with copper and steel. It's a little different, but it's very, very interesting the way copper interacts. A lot of Tesla stuff was magnets and copper, or electricity and copper too. Not just electrical wire, copper wire, but actual copper plates and things. And then that's like the reverse of what you see on the video I just sent you. Probably give a quick change of pace from that guy's voice too, the way he's narrating. For those of you who are having a hard time with the language. Iron ball. Or sorry, with the magnet, yeah. Look at that. You ever seen that before?
Yes.
Yeah. Which is what we're talking about, electric universe. From a magnetic field. So literally reduce the speed at more than half. Or more than that, like 4 times, right? What was it, 0.2 coming through and then 4 seconds? This is way more than that. Yeah, look at that shit.
It's so crazy, man.
I know. And then, let's see. Did you scroll through that playlist yet? No, because you just saw that.
I mean, I'm aware of the playlist, but we're going to watch the rest of this video before we jump off to some other video that's like
Do
long
it.
or something.
No, these ones are short, but yeah, do it. It's all the same subject, but yeah, go ahead. Cool.
Pouring 2 millimeter steel balls into the large bowls reveal the true forces at work in the Southern Crab Nebula. A wide variety of methods were used to study the magnetic fields emanating from these bowls.
So cool.
Yeah.
Here we see ferrofluid at work, showing the magnetic patterns formed within these bowl-shaped magnetic field emitters. Then for the very first time, it's now possible to actually repel non-magnetized steel balls with a static magnetic field. The magnetic
Because of
field
the shape.
emitted from these balls induces a magnetic field into the steel ball and then repels it along the
This
axis
is
of these
functionally
magnetic field emitters.
the inverse of Lenz's law.
This
in a
knowledge
certain
is the
sense.
key to understanding how these
Where
magnetic
they're
fields
dropping
confine
it.
the nucleus of all matter, from electrons to galaxies.
Wow. Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Tiffany has a book open right now showing the Crab Nebula. That's not synchronistic at all.
Yep, that's awesome. Dude, I literally have hundreds of magnets. I play with magnets a lot.
Magnets are pretty damn cool.
Yeah, they are.
In this experiment, the anode, or the positive side of the high voltage electrical supply, has been disconnected from the lower part of the vacuum chamber. As you can see here, the ejection jets are formed by the magnetic field emitters, even if one of the positively charged anodes is removed from within the vacuum chamber.
Wait, so they're saying a regular whole entire field is being emitted from just one side as opposed to both?
Correct, because they blocked it off from part of the chamber.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah.
So you should be starting to understand that a critical mistake was made by scientists when it was assumed that the magnetic fields emanating from matter such as atoms was due to a simple bar-shaped magnetic field within the atom. This assumption led to many ill-formed ideas as to the true forces at work from the subatomic level to the galactic level. Correct this one basic misunderstanding, and then many difficult problems in science become very clear and easy to understand. Here we see iron filings revealing the magnetic field lines around a bar magnet. Now we see a compass being used to reveal the magnetic field around the bowl-shaped emitter set. Notice that the field emitted from both the bowls and the bar magnet are the same. No wonder mankind was unaware of these bowl-shaped magnetic fields. They were hiding right in front of us the whole time.
The
In
best
this
place to
image,
hide
the
something
magnetic
is in
field
plain
lines around the
sight.
typical structure of an
Yep.
atom, a star, or even a galaxy are shown in magenta. But we need to remember that even though the magnetic field lines measured around matter are of this shape, it is not due to a bar-shaped magnet along the axis of the matter being measured. There are in reality dual bowl-shaped magnetic fields around the nucleus that cause this measured shape of magnetic field lines.
Yeah, makes way more sense.
But
Label
even
those
though
magnets
the
too.
magnetic field lines measured around matter are of this shape, it is not due to a bar-shaped magnet along the axis of the matter being measured.
Yes. You're muted.
Oh, my bad. So we were talking about people like things we've seen before. Imagine this as a person with their legs spread wide and their arms up in the air, spread at the exact same size, and
Totally.
functionally that's you. But this is also exactly how the sun works, or how the shape of the magnetic field of the earth is, or all kinds of other things. And in that, we're seeing a true multidimensionality of experience between planetary bodies and ourselves, and the atoms and
Yep.
quantum particles beneath us. All of those are carrying this exact same scaling right there.
Yep.
There are in reality dual bowl-shaped magnetic fields around the nucleus that cause this measured shape of magnetic field lines.
Another note, when they're twisting it about itself right there, how you end up getting the squares that are inside of there. This, you can make all kinds of correlations off of that, of other things that you've seen, where basically it would be something like this that's then moving diagonally, basically, and it's creating all of this gridding pattern. We spoke about the Sumerian stuff, Tiamat, Abzu, and Anu. Guys, this 0 point right in the center of that, that's the idea of Anu functionally. And with this lower void here being Abzu, and this upper void being Tiamat. And so at one layer of that story, of that pantheon, they were likely speaking towards this three-part system here. But also inside of like Hinduism, when we see Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma, we could make one of these a creative force, one of these a destructive force, Brahma and Shiva, and then the very center point, which was Anu in Sumeria, could basically be Vishnu, otherwise known as the Great Preserver, or the spot that was preserved directly in the middle of these two places. So in all of those kind of trimurti or triumvirate functions, or also the idea of perhaps the one above would be Father, the one below would be Son, and the Holy Spirit would sit right inside of it, you could think of this concept as well. Or you could think of Father, Mother, Son on the inside of it. These are functionally, all of these can work like that. And nevertheless, we're seeing basically the basis of the idea of like the three-part system.
So here is the basic shape of the magnetic fields that emanate from a typical structure in space. Now let's examine some structures in space and see if we can't find evidence for this shape at work in galactic formations. Here is how we were mistaken in our understanding of the true forces at work in galactic structures. These large structures in space could not be explained by the currently accepted theory of gravity alone. So as we studied these structures, it was assumed that some extra source of gravity was required to explain how all this matter could be held in orbit around the central star in these galaxies. This is how the theory of black holes became accepted when trying to explain these structures. It was a totally reasonable line of thinking. But it was found that even using black holes with incredible gravity, we could still not explain how these large structures in space are held together and function. So the next mistake that we made was to assume that some other extra matter was there to explain these large structures in space. Along came our theory of dark matter. But even when we applied both the theory of black holes and dark matter to our puzzle, there still were some problems. It seems the universe itself was not only expanding, but that rate of expansion was increasing. To explain this, we came up with the theory of dark energy. So now we have invented 3 totally unproven theories to explain what we find in the visible and known matter in space: black holes, dark matter, and dark energy. But they are not required at all if you eliminate the basic misunderstanding of magnetic fields around the nucleus of all structures in space. Once you properly understand this revolutionary theory of how magnetic fields can cause not only plasma, but actual matter to form the structures we find in space, you will clearly see that black holes, dark matter, and dark energy do not exist at all. We made some fatal mistakes in our thinking.
Wrong turn at Tuscaloosa.
Utilizing this new theory, you will find that even bizarre structures like Gomez's hamburger are now very easy to understand. As we explore this new theory, we will be examining images and data gathered by scientists, researchers, and astronauts. Their incredible efforts have made it possible for all of us to finally begin to truly understand the forces at work in our universe.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We will be using images from telescopes in space, as well as images captured by a wide variety of telescopes here on Earth. Although I totally believe in plasma formations, there are clearly times where there is much more than just electricity and plasma required to explain what we see in space. This is the case in radio galaxy Hercules A. There is clearly actual matter being ejected along the axis of this galaxy from the evidence we see here. I have undertaken hundreds of plasma experiments, and I am convinced that external electricity alone cannot explain the formation we find in Hercules A. So let's take a look at how matter can be ejected by these bowl-shaped magnetic fields.
So now I'm going to show you magnetic ejection utilizing the CERN ball. So this one will shoot these magnets, ordinary magnets, about 25 to 30 feet across the room if I have a large room. I don't have that big a room we're working in right now. So I'm just going to show you what I'll do. So pulls it down here, and I'll just put it in through the bottom, through the hole in the bottom. A little tricky. It doesn't really want to go in there. It's kind of against it. But then you get it to where it's a balance point, where it doesn't take any energy. But once you push it past that balance point,
Oh, fuck yeah.
Knowing that all matter has a magnetic component to it, you can now see how these incredibly strong bowl-shaped magnetic fields in space could accelerate matter to nearly the speed of light without requiring external electricity, black holes, dark matter, or even dark energy. Now let's take a look at some more formations in space and the magnetic fields around them.
Look how many stars there are, man.
By now you can clearly see that the structures we find in space are easily explained by these bowl-shaped magnetic fields without using black holes, dark matter, or dark energy. It is important to note that these bowl-shaped magnetic fields will not always be nice, simple, symmetrical structures. They can be warped,
Yeah, there we
twisted,
go.
offset, or one field might even be larger than the other as shown here.
Amorphous plasma manifold.
But once you understand the
said
basics
amorphous.
of this new theory of matter formation due to bowl-shaped magnetic fields, you will be able to easily explain most all of the structures we find in space. So to review, we have seen how these simple bowl-shaped fields operate in the vacuum chamber and the way in which they shape plasma. We have seen how glowing rings are formed within the bowl-shaped magnetic fields. We have also witnessed how the ejection jets are formed from these magnetic fields. We have seen how the shape of the reaction changes as we adjust the distance between the bowl-shaped magnetic field emitters. Then we have seen how a disk of plasma will form around the equator of the magnetic fields. We have also seen how these formations of plasma rotate at high speeds, even though the field emitters are stationary. We have seen how these bowl-shaped magnetic fields will cause both magnetized and non-magnetized balls to form orbital rings around the nucleus of the fields. Then in the nucleus area, we found that non-magnetized steel balls form geometrically shaped arrays that match the patterns found at the molecular level. We saw how non-magnetized steel balls formed amazing arrays around these bowl-shaped magnetic fields. It was seen how a magnetic ball was held in line with the equator of these bowl-shaped fields. We witness how the orbital distance is controlled by the spacing between these magnetic field emitters. We saw how pouring 2-millimeter steel balls into one of these magnetic bowls revealed the true forces at work in the Southern Crab Nebula. It was shown how these bowl-shaped magnetic fields will repel non-magnetized steel balls away from the bottom of the bowl in line with the axis. We saw how these magnetic bowls will also eject matter at high velocities. Then finally, we saw how these bowl-shaped magnetic fields can explain most all of the structures we find in space without requiring black holes, dark matter, or dark energy. In part 2 of this video series, you will see more on how these bowl-shaped electromagnetic fields truly explain the structure of all matter, from the subatomic to the galactic.
"30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Yo, you got to pull up that next one I sent you. Just rolling right off that. We can commentate right over it. You're muted again, just so you know.
I didn't say anything yet. Real quick.
Well, just
this
checking.
is
I would
the
know because you're muted.
Integratron that was mentioned in
Ooh.
chat. And the Integratron is generally used for like sound healing things like this.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
This is not the button I meant to click. This building is shaped based off of this same concept. Right? Here's a report from koin.com. Integratron exudes mysterious power. Right? So this thing is about harnessing basically this kind of space and that kind of shape, really.
Whoa. Are you able to pull up Dan Winter's, the internal geography of their domes that they do?
I haven't actually even seen their domes, but I'm sure.
You haven't? No, they're very similar, but they're not quite that, actually. You do your thing. Maybe pull up the next video, and I'll find his images of it.
There's a specific image that I was looking for that's in this list. Unfortunately, I cannot find it again. Where is it? I'm gonna make this much smaller real quick. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I cannot believe I can't find this now. There is a picture of this place with a guy standing underneath a sign that says that this thing is used for the early research on anti-gravity, time travel, stuff like that. This, the whole idea of this with the Dan Winter stuff is very much so like the purposeful plasma projection. If we use these kinds of shapes, we can specifically have a place where we leave from. This is the idea of the standard, like Amazonian Maloka too, is that it's a circular space with a hole in the center, which then means that like you can manage that space better and determine kind of what goes where.
Well, and like he says, when he breaks down one of the videos, Dan Winter ones, he talks about like when your spirit leaves your body and you go to the other side, you can tell mathematically, scientifically in the room exactly where their spirit will exit the room based on the geometry of the physical room they are in. Because if they're not directing their own plasma, but where it will go naturally, should they not be in control of it.
Correct. Straight up. So what was the video that you wanted me to play now?
It's the last one I say in Messenger.
Last one you sent me.
So this video he's going to show you guys. This is how you can build your own Pharaoh cell. I haven't done it yet, but I definitely plan on doing this. And now there's really cool videos here. You'll see he mixes it with iron powder, I think, which is one way to do it. But you can do it with your blood. And I've seen, so yeah, it's fascinating. It's a whole other dynamic because you see the magnetic fields through your own blood. It works the same way.
We can just put it in this tab.
And you can actually go maybe speed in half until it gets to that point. Or you just fast forward, yeah. So he's showing you how to build one. Yeah, so you can do like speed and a half through this just as he goes through the building process real quick, which is cool to see. It's a short video.
That alone looked really cool.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. You just wait. You've seen these videos before, the Pharaoh cell videos?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen hundreds of these videos, and that the other guy having the other play, this is no audio or anything. The other guy having the playlist on the, I resetting the playlist, but if you scroll down to the last like 15, 20 videos, I added a bunch of them. You can probably just pick whatever sticks out to you, and we can talk about it. Because the guy on the, not this video, but the other. Oh, we can watch this. Yeah, look at that shit, man. How cool is that? That's way better than just iron filings.
Yeah, for sure. You get that live view, animated.
Yeah.
And shit.
Well, it's all real time movement too, and it's because the iron filings, you kind of got to shake them around, and they shake out around the field. So I've used that too. And they have this green paper. I've got some of that also. Yeah, look at that, man. Look at the toroid in the middle. And then as they come together,
Jesus.
look at that shit. Dude, I watched hours, and this changed my being, like my brain, just watching it. Like it helped me internally understand energy in myself and like whatever. Just even if I didn't comprehend it, I knew what I was seeing mattered. You know what I mean? It's like seeing the unseen. Like that's what we all want to see in some level, or some of us are tired of it, whatever. But like, look at that shit. And there's ways to stack magnets like that, the square ones. So you go like, there's an order, not just up, down, north, south, but forward and backwards, north, south, and you do it in a certain order, and it makes a massive like projectile magnet deal like that guy had that he shot it through the bowl. It does something very similar. Jeez, man. Okay, and then did you look at any of the other ones on the playlist?
No, I didn't go through the playlist.
Okay, hold on, let me send you one off of it. Because this other guy has some really, when I listened to him before, I mean, I haven't seen these ones specifically, but he has some really, really thought-provoking commentary. Actually, this would be cool, and I haven't heard him do this one. This would be interesting to listen to him and commentate or pause and talk when he's going through it. And then I've got the Dan Winter picture to send you to.
Yeah, let's see the Dan Winter picture first while I get this.
Okay. I've got one of them. I'm going to find the PDF. I know I've got it, but this is the first, saying three, but it's the first one. Is the different materials that are the most fractal.
Let's see. I mean, yeah, I could. Bringing a ton of relevance to these is really going to basically require like changing subject, especially the third one.
The fractal material? No. Yeah, that's fine. No. Those two are just for you. We can bring up whatever. Just the first one, the fractal materials for building materials, and then I'll find the actual shape though. I'm looking for the PDF that shows the layouts, like we just saw for that dome, but Dan Winter's version, or the guy that he's worked with for it.
So we'll bring this up for now. If anybody is interested, this is a. I'll read it. It says living structure, sacred temple, breathes charge, biologic architecture, choice of material, The work of biology is to get molecules arranged into a fractal. This accomplishes perfected, non-destructive distribution of charge called life. Thus, relative fractality, otherwise known as self-similarity, in the charge field allows us to define which building materials can fabricate a structure which causes life, seed, germination, or bliss, meaning success in architecture. The most fractal fields in metals are gold, palladium, platinum, silver, and then moving down the line, copper, iron, tin, steel, and aluminum is the least fractal. Realize most of our most of our society in terms of metals is built out of aluminum, steel, tin, and iron.
Yeah.
Copper, silver, platinum, palladium, gold, these are all used in very like minor things. They're considered very rare and stuff, but an argument can be made that maybe we're not supposed to be building like immense amounts of buildings out of metal and such. So inside of woods, stuff that is close grained or hardwood and has high mineral content is at a higher fractal charge, and then down from that is stuff that's coarse grained or lower mineral content or is softwood. Inside of so basically the idea you can get from that, the harder the wood, the more fractal it is. The softer the wood, the less fractal it is. In terms of stones and basically minerals, granite, limestone, or calc, and paramagnetic stones are the top, with beneath that diamagnetic stones, sandstone, and glass. And then down lower is plastics, and then aluminum is on there again. They're basically just showing these because they are polymers. Well, plastic is a polymer. Aluminum is made from multiple. I don't really understand why aluminum is again on that list, but maybe because it's a. Actually don't know. Nevertheless, in fabrics, we're seeing hemp, silk, cotton, and wool are all pretty high, and polyester is pretty low. So if you're trying to really get that maximum charge, you want to be like on a granite ground wearing a cotton or a hemp shirt, and you want a hardwood floor. And if you're wearing any kind of jewelry, you would only want it to be like gold or platinum or silver, and maybe even you could use that in the building as well. You'd want to stay in the top end here entirely for building kinds of, really anything, right? Like using the stuff that's towards the lower thing really shouldn't be used in any kind of way that is a building that's supposed to like support life. If you and really realize when this means that, like, even like a storage shed should be built out of the good stuff, because the things inside of the storage shed will decay faster if the storage shed is, say, made out of aluminum as opposed to being made out of gold.
And these are also materials that will naturally, if you will, harness orgone energy and things like that. Actual natural earth energies, biological fields, as opposed to metal or mechanical fields, or at least they're in more natural, just fractal cellular construction with the resonance of the biology and the environment. Okay, I found it. Fucking took forever. It's insane how hard this was to find. Okay. It's one of his really awesome, amazing Facebook or website pages, but you just have to scroll through it. Sorry, hold on. Oh.
I feel like if instead of scrolling
Shut
through
up.
this, given our format, okay, here we go. Advanced
Yeah,
bioarchitecture. I'm gonna use one of these videos down here instead.
Wait, make sure it has there's one graphic on there for sure. I want like shown. I don't know if it's in that video. So it's
Which graphic is that?
I guess I was saying the image, but it's the one that looks like actually like a Klingon bird of prey. Come to think of it. Oh, come on! I click on the file and it's not. It's it looks like a backwards C. It's black and white drawing with blue text on it. And there's another one also.
Dan Winter's websites, man.
I know, man. And you and I are having to like navigate it over the web, try to describe where on his single web page, his single web page for all of this information. It's
Yeah, it
related
doesn't
to.
link off to anything. It's just like when he does something else, he just adds it to the bottom.
Oh man. No, this one's all the bioarchitecture stuff. It's just insane that it's not broken up into subcategories.
I mean, like when he does another bioarchitecture thing, he just like
Oh,
adds
right.
it to the end of the HTML. Like
Jesus.
doesn't like add another page or anything.
Wait, is that it? We're getting close. It must be. He's also got a slide presentation I downloaded, and I know it's on the website too. I could find that, but yeah, here we go. Okay, go, scroll down here. There we go. There we go. There we go. Scroll down almost towards the very bottom and scroll up. You're gonna find it faster. Yeah, that's way faster way to find it. It's like above all those tiny ass thumbnail images, at least on my phone. It's like the last 4 black and white pictures, and just a couple more before that. But
Okay, right. This kind of basically
yeah, the same thing, but it shows you the actual layout, the ways using the flower life, and the fractal patterns inside the internal structure of the building.
uh-huh.
Put it up. Put it up. Oh, also, let's see. Shit, who said in here? Everybody's having a great time to chat, but I saw something here. Shit, I think Layla said it. Hold on. Yeah, she said the lemon potato chips are so yummy, dude. Here's another synchronicity. Yeah, I've never bought these chips before. Hold on. I literally picked these up at the gas station. I was like, oh, that sounds good. You see the title on them? Yeah, literally. I've never bought those chips before. What the fuck?
How weird. So what we're basically seeing here on screen is an architectural layout. The quality of the image is not high enough to ever get the words actually clear there, but functionally what we're seeing here, like he has a purifying pond here. This is a workshop space. Down and to the right of it, down and to the left of it is a dining room. Like basically this is a layout for functionally like a centralized building that would support a group functionally. I mean, like in this case, they have like office and reception and everything. Like this is a thing that they're building probably to functionally like monetize as like a healing location, or maybe not monetize, but provide as a service. So they very much so have like a check-in area down here at the bottom with the central gathering point above it, spaces for stores right here. And then out here to the right and to the left, we see like staff bedrooms and client bedrooms. And then like over on the left side, more towards the top, to the left of the Flower of Life garden here in the center, is all this kitchen and that kind of stuff. So really just a layout for a whole space that is kind of based off of these same ideas.
And show the other ones.
This is all based off of functionally this geometry, which really, to get to it again, like this is such a deviation in a certain way from what we were talking about. But these 5 spirals that he's operating with here is the basis behind this. The idea is to basically set up in a space where everything conjugates down on this central feature. That central feature is functionally the integratron kind of space, but the way that he's functionally setting up the flow is so that it's actually, the idea is that it's pumping flow into it from 2 places is kind of the idea.
Okay, now go to the other one with the 2 spirals. It's the same picture, I think, but it's just the 2 fractal to make the heart almost shape. Just right next to it. There's 4 of them right next to that one. It's right below it looks like.
No. Right. I mean, right below it is like an internal view of the meditation space. Maybe that's what you're talking about.
Sure. Maybe. I'll show you what I got in here.
Is this the image that you're talking about? Oh, I forgot to put it in the right tab. It's gonna be a problem.
I just sent it to you too, so if it's not, you got it. No, but
I forgot
that's got the fractals there.
I know which one you're talking about. I actually brought it on there, and I put it in the wrong tab. So.
Gotcha.
Everything I just explained a moment ago, apply it to this image instead.
Yes. Okay. So here's the thing: those double bowls that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Remember? Okay. Or we saw the steel ball shoot through the center when it hit that point. I would imagine it's at that point. And it doesn't come out straight through the center. It's actually off center, and it's probably spirals out. It doesn't just shoot straight out. It probably spirals. So this would be happening in the center of those two
That would depend on all
bowls.
kinds of stuff. If the bowls are in directly straight orientation, it will be self-ordered to be completely straight. If there's deviations in the walls of the plasma field, basically, or those plasma fields are bent off kilter, or they're basically, that'd pretty much be the idea. I mean, I can, like, so if one bowl was here and the other bowl was like off kilter, like
Yeah.
how do you fucking do this? It's
I
hard
know
with
what
your
you're
hands.
talking about.
So
It's shifted.
one's up here and the other one's basically down here, off like that. Then that
Yeah.
makes the jet like come out this way, which is gonna send it on a
Yeah.
spiral pattern. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. All right. So is that so is the spirals then created that the electric paths follow created by the shifting in the bowl planes relative to one another?
Yeah,
It creates the magnetic
if they were
fields for it to
just
spiral.
like this and there was absolutely no variance on them whatsoever, it would be
Yes.
completely straight. But if there is any variance on it, like a tilt like this, then
Yeah.
that's going to heavily adjust the way that comes out of here. But since it's coming out into this bowl, it's going to come out here, and that's going to cause it to curve, right?
So maybe
When it
we
hits
could,
out here, it hits the bowl and stays inside the bowl, but it's on an angled trajectory. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because of the same
Yeah.
pull.
So maybe could we correlate that also to each chakra is like a bowl, and it's like when you have those in line, or your nervous system, your actual cerebrospinal fluid, you say metaphorical or true too. Also your energy, your personal plasma field, all that shit.
This is
But-
kind of a dimensionality thing. If you go to
Right.
inside of the books, most of our chakras would actually be inside of our body like this. The chakra
Right.
would be the dead 0 point inside of here. And it gets
Okay,
fed from
okay.
both sides. A lot of
Okay.
people or representations will show the chakra just like being something on the front. It's really not. It's something that's
Front and back.
inside, and it has jets that come out front and back. Those are functionally magnetized, so they're always collecting energy like this, and they're conjugating inside of the chakra. Only when the energy comes through the sides and conjugates in the center of the chakras are really an experience. So functionally, the chakra would have these bowls on either side of it, right?
Okay, so I'm totally with you. Okay, so I'm thinking through my own experiences. Now I've flipped them upside down, and I've had them going vertical times in different directions for different purposes. But that's interesting, thinking of the bowl dynamic, and then they're still facing away from each other. You know what I mean? Between chakras, if you're going to turn them sideways, they're still repelling, or they're in a place where they're all
When you
magnetized
say
together.
you flip them upside down, you do a visualization that tries to generate a different function, but that function is technically already there. They're not like this, and then they're disconnected. You are the byproduct of a much bigger version like this that creates a 0 point in here. Inside of that 0 point is your connection. You take these chakras and you turn them this way. All you're really doing is generating a space that's really actually already there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
So like the thing that you're making happen is functionally already happening. You know what I mean?
So it just becomes a pathway to get there, if that's what you need. Like, if you're like, oh, I turned my chakras upside down, then I found a space in me that was already there.
Yeah, functionally. And I mean, in the long run, that's what we're doing with anything that we're ever remembering or learning, is we're having a more of an awareness of something that already functions. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, for sure. So that's why, like, getting in touch with the body or perceiving the body in different layers as DNA skin suit dynamic, because it's like being able to correlate it to physical biology, or where I feel or perceive energy in the body, and then correlate it to biology or some layer in between. Because there's always a connection, right? Fractal up, fractal down, some fractals, factual. So there's got to be some kind of correlation of the physical matter in the body in some way, or shape, or form. that correlates to any kind of energetic sensory perception or extrasensory perception we have. I really don't think it all has to be out of the body to experience it. You know, we're pulling it into the body. I mean, Frank talks about it nonstop, but it was something that's fun. I talked about him about that dynamic all summer because me and another guy around here, we've been learning microdosing DMT and really going through that practice, and how beneficial that was to not actually get beyond where you lost consciousness, to actually stay as present as you can at those plateaus and in those realms, so that you can pull those frequencies in and through you, like move that through your conscious awareness, integration, right? Or inscension or whatever. So it's not like trying to pull in to become a god or whatever, right? You already are. It's more just like tuning into the frequencies of remembering yourself, you know, things inside your own DNA, things inside your own awareness that just you forgot, you're not aware of, and like melting amnesic barriers, that kind of shit. So,
and at the long run, like if you understand the universe is basically just a bunch of separated information that you're kind of trying to bring to coagulate. That's really the process of learning stuff. A visualization of taking energy that's everywhere else and spiraling it into your body is functionally an illogical format of learning.
Yeah.
So that's really all learning is. You know, you could read a book and all words, logic, symbols. Okay, and now I understand. And if like realize I've spent time basically like you're talking about the chakra systems, understanding how like you can understand the learning process from like there's some intuitive bullshit, right? Like something like that. You have no idea what it is, and then that you then functionally bring that down into your mind, right? And then you start communicating it to yourself, which brings it to coherence. You start getting security around it. You then attempt to reproduce the idea, and that gets it out of you or roots it, right? Brings it into being when it's reproduced into another person. This is functionally the chakra version of the down step of that information, right? This is how you like explain the six through your chakras. Functionally, you upload information like this too. You have an experience in outside of yourself that you then reproduce inside of yourself as a memory. It comes to some kind of security that that's what actually happened. You cohere yourself with it. You communicate it to your mind, and that mind then turns it into something that is beyond itself. And this is just the interaction back the other way. You know what I mean? So you can this whole concept is the same thing that you talk about inside of like the Hebrew stuff where they're talking about bringing up the fluid through the thing and then it gets up here and all this stuff, but it's the same concept, just instead you're saying it's just energy and it's moving from one chakra to the next, and the association is the stuff that's associated with this chakra rather than this gland, you know what I mean? But really it's the same process of just mindfully moving the energy up or moving it down. And then you talk about energy cycling all the time, understanding that like up and down, like you want to cycle the whole thing, you know, you want to keep cycling it, right?
Spiraling around and around and around, in and out and up and down.
Up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, star. You get 99 lives, you put it on.
Yeah, you do. Dude, that just as soon as you went into that code, my brain just dialed into fucking like 12 years old or whatever.
You put it in real quick with your fingers just autonomously.
No doubt. Yeah, my fingers just start moving. What the fuck? What game was that for? Is that Mario? Super Mario
Contra.
or Mario 2?
That's actually every Konami game. That's called the Konami
I was gonna say
code.
that's on more than that. Yeah.
And every Konami game has some type of cheat that gets put in by using that.
Yeah. Oh, Conan, that was on shit, was that on, did Konami do one of the Super Bowl games or one of the football games, I think, too? And you got like all the unlocks for the upgrades and shit. I don't know, they made, some shit like that.
Let's see, we can look at a list of Konami games. The most common one that was for was Contra.
Do you want to do that, or do you want to watch one of these videos? Because I'm still really interested in diving into magnetic stuff.
I wasn't saying other people would look at it. I was going to scroll the list real quick to see if there was some kind of football game that stood out to me, really.
Oh, Tecmo. Maybe saying a Tecmo. I'm trying to remember now, but it's been a while.
Tecmo was made by a company called Tecmo.
I super got into... Well, let's see. I remember when I was like, I don't know how old I was, whatever Super Nintendo came out. And I wanted it super bad, right? I'm a kid, grew up in America, marketing, TV, video games at that age, right before video games got fucking good. Right after PlayStation, everything changed as far as non-console games go, or console games go, right? So Super Nintendo's out though. You see all the commercials and shit. And it goes from what 8-bit to 16-bit or whatever,
Yeah.
the 32 or whatever it jumped up to. And like, and then I remember finding it in their closet. Like I saw it up in the closet, and I asked my mom, "Was that for me for Christmas?" And she lied to me because she didn't want to ruin the surprise. Dude, I remember being devastated as a kid. I mean, just devastated. Like, why would he do that? He just should test it out, and he was going to return it or something, or like, what the fuck? And then I got it for Christmas, but dude, it was a trauma. I'm just realizing that was a trauma. All right, change the memory. Let's talk about magnets because that makes me super happy. I'll add that to that memory.
All right, so we are going to toss on another video here that is named Down the Rabbit Hole.
And I haven't seen this one, but I have seen previous ones him over, like, the most recent one I've seen is maybe a year and a half ago, so I'm curious to see how his thoughts have progressed and see what he says. I don't know.
All we know about it is what you see on the screen then. Down the Rabbit Hole, Magnetism,
yeah,
and a new look inside.
Yeah, play it. We can commentate if we need to. Yeah, and also whatever he's saying about it, like take keywords too, and just what you're seeing, what you're perceiving. Just because he's interpreting it in one way doesn't mean that that's the interpretation you need to understand it correctly. You know, so whatever you also do your own intuitive interpretation of what you are perceiving with your own eyes, not just what he's telling you he's perceiving. That's true with anyone, but also take into consideration what he's saying for sure. But always have that anyway, multi-layered passive perception. Circumambulation, right, Zach?
And if you're not doing that, or even if you are doing that, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you really want to be nice, go and like all the rest of our videos. And please look in the description below and check out our fundraisers for indigenous people in the jungle who really could use our help, our social media platforms, etc. And otherwise, enjoy the video about magnetism.
Yes.
Let's take a look at something here. Cut out the supercell and a couple quarter-inch neodymium iron borons. I'm going to place one below the supercell in this exact same position. The only difference would be is that there will be a separation of here underneath 1/4 of an inch between these two magnets, obviously due to the glass. So this will be the position each time. I'm going to show you something that I've not seen myself or anybody else show in video before. So I'm going to place the one magnet underneath the supercell, and I'm going to bring the other one right there. And so now the one underneath, of course, is hanging via the dielectric acceleration towards the first one. Let me zoom in a little bit. And of course, we really don't see any light other than the LEDs that you're seeing peripherally, of course, around the rim of the supercell. The only real lines we actually see right here is a plane of inertia. Of course, right now we're actually looking at a reflection of the magnet. It's reflected in the glass because of angle incidence equals angle of reflection. So you see a few lines right here along the plane of inertia. And the only time that the light actually spikes or manifests is if there's a lag, because the magnet underneath this is rolling in accordance with this, but there's a slight lag due to friction and drag, of course. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my left hand underneath the supercell, and I'm going to hold that magnet in place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift the relative position of the top magnet to that of the one on the bottom, which is going to remain fixed in place as it is held by my hand. So I'm just going to move this magnet around, and I'll give you a second to think about what it is we'd see. The only reason we actually see light, of course the lines we actually see is constructive and destructive interference. But I want you to think just for a second what will happen, since right now we're basically seeing no light other than these lines. The only reason why we're seeing these lines is because we're actually separated by about 1/4 of an inch due to the glass. So what do you think, since we basically have no light here, will happen if I hold the bottom magnet in place and shift the upper magnet relative to the bottom one? What should actually happen as far as either the pattern that we see or the light that we actually see? Because the light manifestation within the supercell is super thin, by the way, way thinner than a human hair. It's only
I forget the exact thickness. It's I forget how many microns it is, but it's infinitesimally nothing. So let's actually do that. So I'm going to hold the bottom magnet in place. I'm going to move this one relative to the bottom magnet. I'm going to let go and let it jump back. Okay, now I'm actually still all this whole time holding the bottom magnet in place. And here we can actually see the 4 poles, if you will. Right here,
Holy
there's
shit.
2 dark spots relative to the top magnet and 2 dark spots relative to the bottom magnet that's being held in place. Of course, you'll actually see the light pulse as it actually... Now I'm going to move it here to the left. Notice you'll actually see right about here as I'm moving this magnet to the left, you'll see a dark little hole, if you will, for lack of a better word, form. You see right there? What do you think that is as far as the field representation that we're actually taking a look at? I'm trying to move my hand out of the way so you can see as much as is humanly possible. Here we go. Focus. There we go. You see that? You see how red it is right there, basically at the tip of my finger?
Huh.
That. Do you see that field torsion? People think a magnet emits magnetism, and it actually doesn't. The actual
Yeah,
magnetic
Kevin, he's on
field
YouTube.
that is within the proximity around a magnet has to do with the ether, not the magnet itself. A magnet doesn't emit anything. Well, sure it does. A magnet emits a magnetic field. Even a preschooler knows this. Well, that's actually not the case at all, nor does a light bulb actually emit light. It sets up a release of energy, manifestation of EMR release, just as a person in the middle of a pond who would be flapping their arms in the water, of course being analogous to the ether, is not emitting anything. Of course, perturbations in the medium, in this case the water, is being set up, and of course waves manifest to the person flapping their arms or flailing their arms in the middle of a pond, but the person is not emitting anything. Isn't that beautiful? Take a look at that for a second. We're actually looking at some really strange torsion because I'm actually holding these 2 magnets apart. You see the white lines directly underneath my thumb? You see how bright those are? You see the phase shift and the color difference between the lines over here, which are yellow, and these lines over here that manifest as white? So take a look at that again. Not only am I moving it actually this way, I'm actually moving it up this way. So I'm moving it outward, away, and upward. We actually have right here and here a magnet where no magnet actually is. And when I say that, I literally mean the field formation. You see this S curve? This curve linear right here, you see this? I can't actually point down to the bottom, but you see that? Okay. Actually zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit closer. But right here we basically have no light, except for the fact that these are about a 1/4 inch apart. There would be no light at all. This is the lowest pressure mediation as chosen by Mother Nature. Magnetism is force in motion and a centrifugal divergence. The actual magnetic field is always trying to dump, for lack of a better word, back into counter space. Magnetic geometry, respectively, is the torus, and the dielectric geometry, of course, is the geometry of counter space, which is a hyperboloid.
Dude, okay, Zach, come on, pause there. You gotta add some commentary here.
There we go.
That last sentence was a fucking mouthful.
Actually, zoom in a little bit better. So
Zachary. Fades out smoking.
Maybe you would like me to zoom in even a little bit more. Actually, that's as far in as I can go. Sorry about that. Take a look. It's really quite beautiful. The dimensionality and the depth of the holography from something that is infinitely thinner than a human hair when you actually have one of these in your hand is nothing short of mind-blowing. And my God, I really effing mean that. Excuse my language. Now let's actually zoom out again. This time what we're going to do is we're going to place the magnet towards, let's first do acceleration, okay? So now we've just got pole underneath pole, so I'm going to actually approach them for so-called magnetic attraction, which does not exist.
Love this shit.
Looking at his dielectric acceleration. No
Jack better be listening to this shit, because this guy's saying exactly opposite of some of the shit we saw in the video. Like, we gotta talk about this shit.
You can see these lines that have formed here. They're actually a little bit burned in. You see all these lines. That's why I actually have to rebuild these. If I actually place this one directly over top of the other almost perfectly, there's almost nothing. You could tiny see a ring of light. The ring you're actually seeing would be like the rings of Saturn, like an accretion disk. And the only reason we're seeing this instead of nothing at all is because these magnets are still separated by about 1/4 inch of two pieces of really thick glass. But if I separate them a little bit, let me zoom in a little bit better. I'm sure you'd like to see a little bit closer. There we go. Bring it to 0 or near 0. And then separate them from
Fucking love that shit. So fucking cool. Dude, that's everything.
Well, you notice
every time you move
this
your hands.
is what humans conventionally call magnetic attraction, which is dielectric acceleration. Magnetic attraction doesn't exist. We basically have no light, except for the glass that's between these two. Since this is completely black, I'll give you a second.
Where is Zach? Zach needs to be pausing this and having a conversation with me right now. Like, we need to rewind 2 minutes when he gets back. I'm dead serious.
If we don't see any light here...
Is he pooping? Does he go number 2?
And as Mother Nature wishes them to be, what will happen when I flip this over so it's like-on-like polarity? And of course, this is what the 4th edition of my book is for, is actually to define polarity and many, many other things. You can actually look really close.
Dude, look at that shit. So really fucking cool. Now that looks like the bowls.
Let me hold it really tight.
Because that's
focus.
What they were trying to say in the other one.
Really tight. Get my fingers as much out of the way as possible. What do we see?
And the Mon chips, yeah, I haven't broken into mine. I don't even know if I want to eat them now. Maybe I just bought them for that synchronicity. Like, they really don't sound good. I know you're saying they're good, but I'm just like,
Imagine taking the top portion of a donut and squishing it into a cone. Just trying to think of the easiest geometry. Also, too, I'd like you to take a look at this, since this is a supercell and it is dying, if you will. Let me move it around a little bit to clear the image. You see that red spot in the center? I actually showed you that in a prior video. Let me actually clear this up a little bit. It's almost like wiping a chalkboard when I do this. It spreads the nanoparticles of the ferrofluid within the surfactant. It clears it up a little bit. I'm just going to put the magnet with one pole facing it towards the camera in here.
fucking cool.
There we go. Hold on a minute. You want me to zoom in a little closer? I'll zoom in a little bit more. There we go.
You feel him having to go poo, Kevin? Zach, Kevin sympathizes with your poo.
See that red spot? Looks like a tongue
Just wants you to
sticking out
know.
in the center.
I'm literally sitting right here watching the video.
Anyway, thank you so much for
why
watching.
haven't you said anything? We need to rewind to like 3 minutes or 4 minutes in
You'd
chat.
not seen before. The supercell.
You're supposed to be commentating with me.
And if you'd like to build one yourself, the only thing you need is some mouse milk, some ferrofluid you can get off of eBay, and 2 optically flat pieces of glass, and some hardware LEDs from Lowe's or Home Depot, right? Thank you so much for...
Alright, so what's this is no different than the bowl thing. It's the inverse of the bowl thing, which
Okay.
they're the same. This is the spot inside of the bowl, right? It's the same space. It's inside of the bowl interacting with one another from the opposing sides, and it creates the exact same effects that the bowl creates in negative space.
Yes. So what about his terminology, though? I mean, he blatantly said magnetism does not exist. It's all electric and dielectric fields and other shit. So is he saying, like, potentially he's trying to say it's all masculine? It's all electric, actually, 100%. The other one was saying it's all magnetic, but they're just the inverse of each other?
magnetism is how they're controlling it through the other things, but magnetism is a byproduct of electrically charged things.
Okay.
And both of
So
those,
like,
both of these claim the same thing.
okay. So he said the exact same thing the video was saying, and I just didn't understand that correctly.
He said the same thing that the video said in super science jargon,
Uh-huh.
inverted, with an inverted idea, basically. But
Mm.
they're the same both ways. His experiment is using the opposite of what the other experiment was using. The reason why he's doing that is because with this methodology of showing it, you can show the magnetic field. And what
Yeah.
we were looking with the other one is how the plasma is getting shaped by the magnetic field. So that has
Gotcha.
to be done inside of a vacuum, and it's a significantly harder experiment to run. This
No
experiment, like he
doubt.
said, can be ran from like anywhere, but this experiment right here, to explain a lot of the things that's explained in the other one, you would basically need to look at everything that's here as being what's not there. And then you would get the
Yeah.
exact same results as the
Right.
other one.
But that's what I'm saying, man. How cool is this? You're getting to see all the stuff that you didn't see in the other one. So both are awesome. The other one, don't get me wrong, I could spend hours with that one for sure. Like I feel like,
Sure.
yeah, this is the inverse. They're both super awesome though.
Yeah, but if we're gonna understand the function behind this stuff, this and the other thing's function is exactly the same.
Yes. But
Exactly
they're
the
different
same.
perceptions of seeing the same thing, is what I'm saying. It's another facet of literally the same thing, and it's fucking cool.
Right. On one of them we were looking at the outside, and on the other one we were looking at the inside, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Masculine, feminine, left, right, inside, out, magnetic, dynamic, north, south, all that shit. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, she brings up vacuums right here. The interesting thing to understand is that we're having to create that vacuum only because we're trying to isolate a space to perform that experiment. The universe in and of itself is created by one of these things on a larger dimension. Because of that negentropic ordering, because it's all collapsing into a space, it exhibits what seems like a vacuum because it does not have any space outside of it. That's what makes it a complete vacuum. If you have space outside of where you're trying to run your experiment, then you're not going to get a complete vacuum because you have to be able to get a 100% seal on the space and suck 100% of the gas out of it. And that is, if you've ever tried it, it's exponentially harder the more of it that you get out. So when you get to these like last percent, it's really, really hard to get that out. Like really, like impossible, because it's
Yeah.
kind of like like division,
Getting absolute
right?
zero.
Yeah, well, yeah, and even absolute zero is a weird concept, but
Yeah.
it's division. Like what you're doing when
Okay.
you're doing that is it's like, so I got to this point and it took a certain amount of force, and then to get to the next point, I have to massively increase the force, right? But
Yes.
I'm still not going to get to zero with that. I'm going to basically cut what's left in half, and then I'm going to cut what's left in half, and I'm going to cut what's left in half. And when I'm only dividing all the time, I'm never
Yeah.
going to get to zero through division from something, right? I have to
Yeah.
subtract eventually to get to zero at some point in time. So
Yes.
that's in certain applications not functional, right? Like it doesn't actually
But
get
at
to
that
a
same time,
zero.
is that the same thing, maybe, or similar to infinite fractality? Because you actually can never get to zero. Literally, it's infinite fractality down, divisively, by division, maybe.
There's the idea is that there's a place where these things basically come to conjugate, and so there is
Right?
functionally a subtraction. It's a subtraction through opposing nullification, pretty much. So if one was coming down like this and the other one's coming down like this, even though they're going towards zero, there's a point in time where these forces end up canceling each other
Oh,
out,
yeah, 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 yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay.
But it's
Yeah, yeah.
because they functionally subtract from each other as they come to
Okay.
unity,
Yeah, yeah.
because they come from 2 to 1. When they get to a point where they are perceived as 1, then then that's the thing. That's the 1. The inside of that would functionally be 0, right? Does that make sense? And
Mm-hmm.
this is why
Yeah, yeah.
when we have this Xing occurring, this spot in the middle, right inside of here, that is created by the cross, right? That spot right there is what ends up as the 0 point. You could also look at this as like 4 things that are functionally like I have this one thing and this one thing, and where they cross is a third thing, right? But these are functionally just 2 things that create one spot. And so I've been seeding down into this thing, right? The inside of 1 would functionally be 0, right?
Okay. Yeah, I can follow that.
So when we have basically this phi collapse, right? The Fibonacci sequence, if we want to just put whole numbers on it, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, right? This kind of thing. When it's coming down to this, the 1, 1, 0, where we're at, we're moving backwards, right? When we're at 1, 1, the only next place for them to go is to cross through each other and start the thing back over again on basically the negative.
Okay.
That's how a 0 happens. Right?
Okay, that's an negentropic space.
Yeah, functionally, a 0 is not a number because, in a certain sense, because it is none of them, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have a number of them.
Could you say 0 is a space then? Because like I see that in numerology too, as a space. Yeah, so I see 0 as a space holder. Just 109 or 108 is actually 9, right? 0 is a space holder.
Yeah,
so it's feminine before 1, before the projection.
Yeah,
projectile.
Functionally a space. I think that's the best way to understand actually like a circle or a sphere or a 0, right? Like all of those we're functionally talking about a space. It's not actually a thing, it's a space for things. Right?
Yeah. I would like to take a moment and point out that Kevin this whole night has been, I don't know if he's like just in a good mood or he's just whatever. He's exceptionally funny tonight. And that was good, Jen. Jen's laughing. I made it out of the loop. Error. Now I'm back in. Buckle this. Ludicrous speed. Go. That's it. Oh, have we stopped? Well, that's good. Everyone take 5. Smoke them if you got them. You did this, Jen. La la la. Only one would dare give me the raspberry. Lone Star. Oh, they have inside jokes now. I'm lost. Or just references I don't get. Okay, shit. I hate it when my Schwartz gets twisted. Said Jen.
That's a reference to Spaceballs because of the ludicrous speed go.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Good.
Spaceballs.
Shit. That was my Virgin alarm. It's programmed to go off before you do. Dude, awesome. I'm glad all this magnetism talk is bringing out all this humor. It's great. And
I do need to get going pretty soon because I have a lot of overlays to make in the morning. I cannot put it off any time longer.
Oh, you didn't get done. You didn't get done tonight.
No.
Oh, you got too tempted. You got too tempted by doing the camera stuff.
I wasted time on the camera thing functionally, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. And my camera's technically worse than it was before. Like, look at all this black space.
I know, man.
Like, I don't even know how it did this. I have no idea why it decided to do that. It's very weird.
Yeah. I figured out.
It looks all right in this one because the border's like kind of equalized, but it's still pretty weird.
Might be better off with just a little HP. Like I got our Logitech, Logitech 1080p cam.
Yeah,
well, I mean, whatever. Once you get OBS, you'll be fine with your video card. But I'm just saying, probably, but whatever.
Maybe.
Just for what we're doing.
See. Yeah, I mean, it definitely might be better.
Because then you can use the DSL for other shit, or maybe other angles or other shit.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely set it up with other angles too. I mean, I can run more. I mean, any webcam is going to be USB, and so I can just run USB.
Yeah. Especially with OSB, you can do both,
and still have this. The OBS thing is that I'll be able to like set the frame rate of the bit rate of the camera inside of there, and I think it might be better. Really, the real thing is my upload. My upload might just not be good enough to be running a DSLR, honestly. So
okay, let's as an outro. Let me send it to you right now. He made a video. I haven't seen it either, but it might be really fucking cool. And it's literally a piece of fractal video that he made.
Fractal designs of counter space. Yeah, when he's talking about this this counter space.
Yeah, well, yeah. How would you correlate that?
Well, it's the void space that's created by this interaction.
Hey, shit! An orb flew through by my head. Layla said, "Oh, it's a car light. Hold on, boom. Is that a car light? Is that what you saw? Tail light? I'll take both. I'll take Arcturian orbs for sure. Got many of them in pictures.
Let's see if I.
Oh, that didn't come up in our conversation. Maybe we can do an Arcturians part 2.
So if I bring this over here, and
yeah, I am in my van, Layla. The half an hour from Olympia. We drive to the state capitol. Bring all the energy that I took or reoriented from the Washington, D.C. capital and drive it right through the Washington capital. Because that's apparently what I do. I'm apparently fucking...
It's a gypsy traveler.
City gypsy. Work
All
and live
right.
in the city.
We appreciate you all for being here tonight. We are going to cut out of here because we have driving to do and overlays to make and sleep to get. We're going to run some fractal video as we get out of here and a little bit of Reinhard Burr playing music at the same time. This should work, at least. And yeah, we love all of you. Like, subscribe, follow, come back tomorrow, hang out. We love all of you.
So is Jen. Jen loves all of you guys all so much. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me and all of us. You guys are seriously so rad. Hearts, 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 hugs, 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 hugs. Yay.
All right, and we'll share this screen over here.
Love
And
you
I
guys very, very much. Have a wonderful night,
we'll
morning, day.
Talk to you later.
Love you in the morning and in the afternoon. Love you in the evening. Oh, am I going? Bye. Bye.